All right. Howdy to everybody out there who is tuned in with us. JV Wins, Dogon SS, as always. Y'all know the deal. Shouts out to
You
everybody who's tuning in. Shouts out to everybody who's hit that like button, subscribe button. We certainly appreciate the support. Merry Christmas to all those who celebrated in that capacity and to all those who do not. Happy holidays. Hope everyone is having some good time, hopefully away from your work desk, away from your office, having some leisurely time, family time, getting to celebrate and just relax and enjoy the company of those that you care about. We are doing the same on our side. So we hope everyone gets to indulge in such pleasantries, man, because that's kind of what life is all about, right?
you
Before we get into it for this evening's stream, as always, want to say hit that subscribe button. If this is your first time checking out what we do here on the channel, we certainly appreciate the engagement. Hit that like button, leave a comment. Let us know where you think we went right or wrong in any of the content that we publish here to the channel, because that's what it's all about. Kicking this
right.
logical content and growing the channel, regardless of whether you agree or disagree with our takes. We are just trying to be as honest and transparent as we can be about how we feel about some of these various topics. Now, with that out of the way, we are going to go ahead straight away, get right into it. Oh, also, don't want to forget to leave this out. This show is also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Podcasts. So that pretty much runs the gamut. I would say most people check out podcasts either on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So we are in those places as well as on Amazon. So if you want to get the audio fix, if you're driving in a car, if you're for whatever reason in a position in which you can't watch the video but you still want to listen, we also have begun uploading all of the full episodes to these various podcast outlets. So if you are so inclined, do your boys a big old solid and check us out in those places as well. We certainly appreciate it. All right, now introductions can dispense, and we can go ahead and get into this evening's topics. The first thing that we are going to discuss are interesting comments made by, at this point, friend of the channel, Fat Joe. We have mentioned Fat Joe or talked about a topic relating to Fat Joe in some way on this channel at least a few times before. So
Mhm.
this is going to be a continuation of that particular series. This time, Fat Joe is taking issue with FBAs, which stands for Foundational Black Americans. Foundational Black Americans, a grassroots organization similar to Black Lives Matter, and they are essentially trying to set the record straight on certain aspects of society and culture that they believe are fallacies and misnomers, one of those being the origins of hip hop. Now, this is in reference to a documentary that Fat Joe wasn't a fan of. Fat Joe, there was a documentary, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the screen here, and we'll go ahead and get right into it. Fat Joe is not a fan of the FBAs, to put it short, because the FBAs are asserting that the belief that hip hop was created by both blacks and Hispanics, sort of hand in hand. The FBAs are asserting that that is actually not true, that that's a lie, that hip hop was pretty much solely created by black people, by the black community. Fat Joe, an old hip hop head, somebody who owes his life to it. He's been rapping for a very long time. He does not appreciate the notion that anyone would suggest that it was solely created by black people. But the FBAs feel differently. They say that the idea that it was created by blacks and Latinos is a lie, that it was created just by black people. And Fat Joe isn't a fan. So this article says Fat Joe rips foundational black Americans, calls them broke and black racist, backlash ensues. Fat Joe has some choice words about the foundational black Americans, which Joe referred to as foundational black authority as a guest on Math Hoffa's popular My Expert Opinion podcast. In a clip released on Saturday, which was December 21st, Joe called the organization broke black racists in response to their comments on blacks and Puerto Ricans creating hip hop together theories. Addressing rumors, Joe said these rumors were made by radical black racists. It's a group of these guys that don't want to hear Jamaican, don't want to hear Guyanese, don't want to hear a black guy not down with them. So their job is to criticize anybody who doesn't look like them, who ain't black American, the FBA, whoever these broke expletive is. I'm just keeping it a buck, and their mission is to attack everyone on Twitter. Fat Joe proceeds to describe the organization's leader. He tells Math Hoffa, "Do you see this expletive who runs them? Yo, man, you got to be effing kidding me." So they trying to change the narrative because they're not from New York. So they telling a whole other story. Naturally, Joey Crack's comments received backlash on social media. While many agree with Joe's longstanding claim on hip hop, others discredited the multi-platinum entertainer. So here is Joey Crack's disdain for the FBA in video form here, in which he voices his displeasure with what the FBA is trying to suggest about the origins of hip hop.
These rumors were made by radical black racists. Let's just say that. Okay, it's a group of these guys that don't want to hear Jamaican, don't want to hear Guyanese, they don't want to hear a black guy that ain't down with them. Right? So their job is to criticize anybody who don't look like them or who ain't Black American.
Who are these guys?
You want me to say their name? We're going to give them too much clout.
I mean,
the FBA, Foundational Black Authority, whoever the fuck these broke niggas is. I'm just keeping it a buck. And their shit is to attack everybody on Twitter. You see this nigga who run them? Like, your leader? Yo, man, you got to be fucking kidding me, man. And so they trying to change the narrative. They're not from New York.
Right.
So they telling a whole nother story. This was whoopity doop wop. Yo, bro.
All right, there you go. So essentially what he's saying is, the origins of hip hop are rooted in New York, but this organization doesn't have any ties or affiliations. They're not from New York, so how can you tell a different story? Is what he's trying to say here. The article goes on to say, against Joe, an ex-user tweeted, "He ain't lying, no. Like, in as balls as it gets on every level, and I don't agree and march to the FBA beat. They called me an immigrant or a tether, and I don't even know what the F that even means." Another user would co-sign Fat Joe's broke claim about the FBA. To be fair, most FBA agents are broke. I personally cannot confirm nor deny any of that. With Joey Crack at the front of the conversation, the question about other ethnicities' involvement in the origin of hip-hop has been a trending topic since the culture turned 50 years old in 2023. Other ethnicities have claimed involvement in creating the culture that history proclaims was created by African Americans in the Bronx. There you have it. Fat Joe clearly not very much of a fan of the FBA. What do you think about Fat Joe's comments?
All right, so much with this situation. I would say this. Let me start off with Fat Joe, Joey Crack. Am I good here, bro?
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I'm in a whole new spot, man. So I don't know if I'm catching lag or anything. So just let me know. But yeah, man. So let me start with Fat Joe. Mr. I lied and over 90% of my rhymes. I don't really. It's not like I was really rocking with the dude in the first place. But after he said that 90% of the rhymes thing, whatever little bit of credibility he had with me, it was gone. And and so he's been doing this thing where he's been running around and just being a pundit for, I guess, hip hops, and just going out there and talking about various things. And I never really, Fat Joe is industry. Fat Joe was never hip hop. He never put together a piece of work that made me go, I should listen to what Fat Joe has to say about what hip hop is about, because he never really made hip hop himself. So I'll just say that. And as far as do I agree with his statement? I'll tie that in a bow at the end, and then let me get to the FBAs. This FBA situation. Now, black people, hear me out now. Hear me out, FBAs. All right. Because I don't even know. I like when I first started hearing that term, I was like, well, okay, just another category, I guess. But I didn't care so much for the rhetorics. I didn't care for the divisive way that they were using language. Like if there was somebody from a Caribbean or somebody from Africa, they were like, "Oh, you can't weigh in on this. You ain't this. You ain't that," and basically boxing them out. And I'm like, I don't get all of this animosity towards people that are in the same struggles as you. But the FBA people would say they don't have the same struggles because they're not FBA. And so to me, it's a bit bizarre, a bit of a psyop, if you ask me. And the people that are pushing it online, they are quite aggressive. So when Fat Joe is saying what he's saying it from a perspective of they are quite aggressive. But when it comes to the hip hop Latino aspect of this conversation, I don't get where Fat Joe is coming from in this situation. It's well documented who started it. It's well documented. The group that started it, the group that named it, the people that were pushing it. So I'm sure there was, Latinos in the bunch, but I don't want to say that. I would say that it was rather more of a black type of situation than Latinos. And no shade on Latinos. It's just more black people that were into it and doing it. So it's just more of that. So he has his of course his unique bias from being from the community, and he wants to put his his people in the mix of the conversation, which is fine. But at the same time, I don't think Fat Joe was accurate. And last little thing I'll say about the FBAs before I let you go. As I mentioned, it's the language that they use is, in my opinion, very divisive. I'm sure that this has something to do centered around the reparations conversations and other things like that go on online. And to me, I think that, like I mentioned, I think it's more of a psyop situation, more of a divide and conquer kind of situation, and internet talking stuff that's meant to get people that are passionate about our people into these pockets where they're divided and categorized in these groups. So there's no actual unification. There's more infighting amongst each other than actually getting together towards a common goal. So that's why I don't really care for this FBA stuff. I never run around calling myself that. But that's how the game go. And I've got more to say, but I'll let you go ahead and take a swing at this. What are your thoughts on Fat Joe using expletives and all of that stuff too? What is your take on what Fat Joe had to say about this entire situation?
First of all, I'll say that I'll co-sign like 99% of what you just said with your assessment of both Fat Joe and the FBA. Mm-hmm. I will also add that I have seen various hypocritical elements of the FBA during their brief time in existence. For example, I'm pretty sure the FBA is totally in favor of the idea that if, as a black person, if you marry outside of the community, you therefore forfeit your right or ability to participate and talk about and help the community. I'm pretty sure they would co-sign such a rhetoric. Yet they seem to pick and choose when to employ that particular ideal based upon who we're talking about. Because, for example, they will co-sign champion a person like Dave Chappelle, for instance. And I'm a Dave Chappelle fan, but Dave Chappelle is not married to a black female. He's married to an Asian woman, but that doesn't seem to disqualify Dave Chappelle from having a particular level of agency and authority when it comes to whom we should listen to on black issues. So I just wanted to point that out, that I'm pretty sure they fall in line with that stuff, but like the rest of these organizations, there are still some hypocrisy sold into them that if you listen close enough, you can point out rather easily. Now, beyond that, I will say, people like Fat Joe and the FBA who want to argue over the origins of hip hop. And I get it because, hip hop is one of these things. I've said it time and again. It's a sensitive subject because, I mean, if you remove hip hop, basketball, and football, what does the community have to cling to as things that we kind of dominate or perform at a high level or have a significant contribution culture wise in the West outside of those various areas, especially when you consider mainstream media popularization. When you're talking about an export that gets deployed to other regions of the world, which sort of serves to educate the rest of the world on what these people are about. What are the main things that they're exporting to some of these other regions of the world to kind of show these other regions of the world what people from our community are about? It's mainly the music and the sports. It's not really business or education or acumen. It's mainly sports and music. So if that's what we have to cling to, if that is our chief export, it becomes a sensitive issue. Therefore, it becomes something that is touchy and we will fight over, because without that, what do we have? And of course, I'm not saying that as a source of pride. I'm saying it as a source of an unfortunate reality that even to this day, that is still what we cling to as this is what we have. Mm-hmm. So it becomes a touchy issue, and that's what we fight and fuss and argue over. But if there's one thing that I will say to any side of this particular discussion, whether it's the Fat Joe side or the FBA side, you can sit around fighting over the origins of hip hop all you want. But if you really want to leave a lasting legacy while simultaneously helping future generations, maybe you should instead figure out a way to preserve the sanctity of it, because the future of it is completely in the toilet. The origin of the art form didn't start as a degenerative, commercialized celebration of bad behavior. Now, that was always a part of the content of it, but it wasn't mainstreamed into the collective consciousness of the people in a celebratory fashion the way it is now. And the main problem with the music, in my opinion, I would posit, is a lack of balance in terms of its representation. It's completely jumped the shark in terms of the kind of content that gets popularized. And I think it's leading current and future generations astray. So while you want to argue over the origins of it, I would suggest it's more constructive to figure out a way to leave a lasting legacy on how to preserve the future of it. Because if no one's talking about that, the future of it is going to continue to get worse and worse and continue to lead future generations into future toilets, into future advents of economical indentured servitude, into future advents of employment, into future advents of diminutive stature when it comes to your economic standing in this country. The tapestry of the music is playing a significant role, in my opinion, in funneling people into these various buckets. So I think that more people should be arguing over how we're going to preserve the future of it, as opposed to fussing and fighting over its origins. Who cares? It was 40 years ago. 50 years from now, no one's going to be talking about that when we're all drones and putting on MetaQuest helmets and living in 50-foot high rises because we've destroyed the earth. No one's going to be talking about that. We're only going to be focusing on what the current iteration of it is and how it's impacting everybody living in that moment in time. So I get it. Fat Joe is a hip hop old head. The FBAs are another one of these organizations that are trying to put boots on the ground to quote unquote set the record straight. But they're focusing too much, in my opinion, on the past. And I get it. If you don't know your past, then you don't know where you're going, that whole bit. So I understand it. But I think it's high time that we instead focus on the best possible way to preserve its future, because right now it's heading in a very dark direction and no one seems to care about how we can preserve it and create a little more balance in terms of its representation. So a little bit more of that and a little bit less of what happened 50 years ago, or at least maybe a bit of a balance of both, I think will take us a long way.
I mean, I get that. An emphasis on the future is definitely It's definitely in order. But, the part is, just like how you said, that whole bit of, you got to know your past and know where you're going. Well, where you're going is the future. And so you do have to know your past. And the reason why the reason why you need to know your past is because there's all kinds of things tied into that, self-confidence and the abilities that, it's like, when you're a young person, like when I was little, my mom told me that, I drew some stick stuff, some stick figures and a damn sun with a smiley face and, what I'm saying, the little wiggle things for birds. And my mom told me that, oh my goodness, you can draw. Oh, wow. And I was like, oh, wow, I can draw. And then next day I said, oh yeah, I can draw. Day after that, I can draw. I went to school, I can draw. And I was just drawing all the time to the point where, I got good at art. But if you start always working at something, you'll start to get good at it and learn skills and stuff like that. But it was because I remember my mom telling me when I was a young person that you can draw. And there's a thing in your brain where where you have this, there's a way that you can go any damn way you want. But if you have something that you lean on, that's something that's yours or whatever, your future will be whatever it is because you have a self-confidence, if you will, in whatever you're about to get into. So for instance, when we're dealing with, hey, y'all created rap. Did you know that? Or hip hop, did you know that? And most people will say, yes, we knew that. Okay, fine. Did you also know that you created martial arts? Did you know that? And they'll say, what? Nah, we didn't do that. Whatever people did that. No, sorry, you did that. Hey, did you know that you created whatever? You know what I'm saying? All forms of mathematics, philosophies, things that are being used by, modern people. Did you know that you created that? As a black person? And most black people would be like, what? No, you know. And so when you talk about Plato and all of these other Greek philosophers and stuff like that, and people would like to herald them as these, pioneers in human history, but those guys learned that from somewhere. But where did they go? Well, they went to Egypt to go learn that at the universities over there. And then once you start to look at the geography of the world, where Greece was located to where Egypt's located, it's not that far away. And they would make that commute to go to those universities to go learn the philosophies and stuff like that and mathematics that they were heralded as kings of. And so if our people don't know that we taught Socrates and Plato and all of these other people, all of the stuff that, everybody wants to hold them as the academic standard, but we were the ones who taught them, the nameless ones. Why are we the nameless ones in history books? We're the nameless ones in history books because, well, there's a structure going on where it's in books, it's out there. But why isn't it being taught in schools and universities and things of that nature? Why does history start with Plato with certain levels of philosophy? Why does it, blase, please, blase, blase? But once you trace history back, you'll see that there was a black face contributing to all of that. So when we talk about classical music, that's not something that was created by, whatever, that was created by us. And so if you know that you did these things, you would have a self-confidence in yourself to create things in the future. But when you look up and then you see that the superheroes in all textbooks don't look like you don't feel like you can accomplish. And so in a situation like this, where everybody can really trace back hip hop to, because it's not that far ago. All right. Yeah, it's something that was ours. Yes, it got co-opted and bastardized, much like anything else. All right. And it's gotten co-opted and bastardized to the point to where our people are out here behaving in such ways that we don't care for. So if, and I agree with you, the history of it, or the future of it is going in the toilet. I agree with that 1000%. But if people understand who started it and why they started it, maybe it can help a renaissance, for people that are going, hey, if I want to say that I'm hip hop, I need to go back to where it started and why it started. And what I'm talking about, all this trapping and baking soda and Pyrex and whipping with forks, That's not what hip hop is. Even though I can put words together, I'm putting words together in a detrimental way. That's not what the forefathers said. So if people did know the history of it and why it was even an art form to begin with and what direction it was going in, then it would go out. It wouldn't go into the toilet. So I hear your point. You know what I'm saying? We need to focus more on the future for sure of what we got going on. But people's future is tied to their past. And they will make decisions based on previous knowledge. And if their previous knowledge starts at 2017, because that's, whenever a person's, whatever, or 2010 or 2005, then, their best reference is Jeezy and T.I. And they think that's hip hop. And Fat Joe running around talking about he hip hop. And that's why I started my first thing saying, like, he's nothing close to it. There's no piece of work that Fat Joe ever put together that anybody can classify as hip hop. This guy was mainstream garbage all the way through and through and lied in 90% of his music. So he is not an authority figure. He is no one to speak on this topic if he wants to act like he's some hip hop purist, which he isn't, because he's a liar. He admitted it. So I don't want to hear anything that this guy has to say. And it's not like I'm sitting here defending FBAs for that matter, because I already had my thing with them. And honestly, like I said, last thing I'll say about this with the FBAs at all, this whole thing, the reason why I feel like it's psyopy is because if these people profess to know history as much as they do know the history, then they would know that our people were populating this planet before anybody else. So we're foundational Earth people. We were all over the globe. There's pyramids all over the planet. Things that they have to dig up and all this stuff. There's pyramids and all of that stuff all over the planet, North America included. So yeah, we've been here. We've been everywhere. And so for them to be going around with all this divisive talk and all of these things merely for reparations or whatever else they're into, to me, I find it concerning, and I find it psyopy, and I don't stand for it. And so, and if any FBAs got something to say, bro, just at me in this comment section. I would love to have a spirited conversation with you. But yeah, man, Fat Joe can kick rock with his line behind. I'd say that.
Well, yeah, like you said, to his own admission, his cachet with any conversation is kind of null and void due to the fact that he very openly on CNN talked about lying in 95% of his rhymes. Yeah, I agree with all of that, but I believe at a certain point, because the youth is one thing, but I do think that there is a lack of lip service paid to what we're going to do to preserve any particular forms of art. And these kinds of talking points are not being delivered by those who do have education and knowledge of the history. Likewise, it's also being posited musically by those who understand the history and the knowledge. I've lost count of the amount of hip hop artists who, despite them being as old as they are and having the knowledge of the history that they have had based on various interviews and things that I've heard from them, still feel as though in order to be relevant as a current artist, they have to cop to the current sound, which to me does a disservice to the idea that we need to preserve the past in order to know where we're going with the future. So I think all the way around, we just need to do better in terms of how we talk about these things. But I think for organizations like FBA, they are clinging to this hip hop stuff, not because they want to preserve the past, but because they want to be able to retain ownership over something in the event that outside entities see an opportunity to leverage it in any sort of financial way. Like I think on an elementary level, and this is where I depart with organizations like Black Lives Matter and FBA, is I think at the end of the day, as philosophical and ideological as they want to be, a lot of this stuff boils down to the almighty dollar and what can we preserve and retain ownership of in the most effective manner, so that if anyone wants to leverage this financially, we get a piece of that pie. We get a stake in that claim because we want to be able to make some of this money too. I think at the end of the day, a lot of this is less about retaining community and cultural status, and more about being able to, you know, contribute in some kind of way meaningfully to the GDP in the future. And so that's kind of where I part ways when it comes to some of these organizations. I mean, hell, we saw the fallout with Black Lives Matter with the woman who runs the organization paying out members of her family with the proceeds to the organization, using it as tax write-offs. I don't know how that helped the community to pay her brother $250,000 a year or whatever the number was. Don't quote me on that. It was some number that was gifted to him as an employee, quote unquote, that he shouldn't have been making. And this is what was going on with an organization that purportedly stands to benefit the community as a whole. So I just don't like any of it. And if we really want to talk about, you know, the origins of hip hop, then let's also talk about the future. Because at this point, even people who are aware of that past are steering the future of it in the wrong direction, which is sad and shameful. But this is where we are. So more of these individuals who truly believe that they have the best intentions of the culture and the art and the people at heart need to talk a little bit more about the future, because otherwise no one knows where we're going and we have no leadership to steer the ship.
Exactly. And I'll say this, last thing I'll say is that, you know, if Fat Joe wants to call them broken and all this other stuff, yeah, I don't know what those people have going on. But one thing that you could say about, I would say about Fat Joe is that you're broke, sir. And when I'm not talking about your finances, I'm talking about your integrity as a person. And for anybody that paraded around lying in 95% of their rhymes, and then on top of that, when you were talking about these crazy things, you were talking about selling and peddling drugs and shooting brothers in the street. And you were lying about that. Why would you do that for so long? Everything that you have that you call a riches was off the backs of lying and talking about and promoting all unaliving and the selling of rugs. So I don't stand for anything that you talk about, Mr. Fat Joe. You don't have a leg to stand on. And I don't want to hear any more words from you, sir.
I can guarantee you you're going to hear more words from this.
We're going to cover it here, I swear. We better, so I can give him another lashing.
Oh, God. Shouts out to everybody on the chat, man. Shouts out to Cash God on the chat. Pumping Vinyl, Timothy Taylor. These are friends of the channel. Daryl Gibbs. So, you know, much appreciation to you guys for tuning in. I see you, Timothy. You say you FBA. You have one Caribbean great grandfather. Hey, man, like any of these, you know, movements, the individual is, I can rock with the individual. It's when the mass, when the whole gets together, that things get a bit misconstrued. So,
and on top of that, it has nothing to do with, see, and that's the science behind psyops, is that there's a thing that ties you to it, you know, because by all definition of services, you know, I'm FBA. But why are they being divisive? I'm FBA, I'm Caribbean. I got a lot of stuff going. There's a lot of people that got things going on. And so there's no one black person running around here 1,000% African Americans.
Well, we've talked about that before. Yeah. Until all of us do the due diligence to trace our true heritage, they'll be able to take advantage of this dynamic. So,
and playing on people's ignorance, and then now creating all levels of division for what reason? Yeah. So I stand with all of my people, no matter where they're from, and that's why I say we're a global people. And once we acknowledge the fact that we are foundational planetary people, then there's no need to divide if one person was born on the other side of the globe than, you know, another. So, hey, man. So that's why I don't stand for the divisive talk. I'm all about unity, and they don't seem to be doing much of that. So that's why I have my reservations about what they talk about.
Yeah. Well, I've said before, you know, my firm belief is that race is less about skin color and region, and it's more about a cultural construct. So your experiences culturally within any location or region are going to shape your cultural identity. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter whether a person is Guyanese, Jamaican, Caribbean, or whatever. You were born and you're a citizen in this particular country, you're going to have the same experiences that I had. So therefore, you're, for all intents and purposes, black, which completely delegitimizes the mantra behind organizations like FBA, in my opinion. But I think that they make a concerted effort, as you intimated, to kind of sow those particular seeds of identification, to have people feeling as though they are members of one specific tribe over the other. But at the end of the day, like I said, I think it's all about money. I personally, this is my opinion, I think a lot of this at the end of the day, bottom line, is about money, and the ability to leverage something that you seemingly own if someone sees an opportunity to make money off of it. And hip hop is that golden goose for us, quote unquote, FBAs. And so that's why there's this that's why there's this stern mission to be able to retain as much ownership over it as possible. That's why you get so many of these arguments and back and forths.
1,000. Hey, Fat Joe, get the hell out of here, bro.
Yeah, but I feel like we'll talk about you again. So come on back, bro. Come on back. We're going to get into comments made by Dame Dash. Speaking on Jay-Z, Dame Dash, who, in my opinion, he's down bad. He recently was speaking on the media reaction to, some of Jay-Z's recent legal issues. There's people who are connecting him to the diddler, and they want to accuse him of assault of the sexual variety, and they're asserting that he was there and he had a lot to do with it. You've had a lot of quote unquote whistleblowers in recent history speak on these types of things, even though they have no receipts. People like Jaguar Wright, for example. So there's a lot of stuff floating around a couple of these people who have been associated with Diddy throughout the history of Diddy, him being one of them. Dame Dash used to run Rockefeller Records with Jay-Z along with Biggs Burke, Kareem Biggs Burke. He was speaking on how the media has been covering Jay-Z, and he's been talking about how it doesn't matter who Jay-Z is, white media turned on him. And it's crazy to see how white media turned on him when he was such a yuppie with the media for so long because of his stature. Damn. So we'll go ahead and get into what Dame Dash had to say. So this says Dame Dash warns Jay-Z that white media has turned on him amid sexual assault allegations. Dame Dash previously expressed his shock at not just the sexual assault allegations against Jay-Z, but at the fact that he responded to them at all. During a new interview with The Art of Dialogue, he expanded on these feelings by positing that white media is now launching a lot of backlash Ho's way for basically the first time ever. Dame compared this situation to allegations against himself, for which he didn't receive the same level of criticism as Jay. Of course, the fame levels are different. He hopes that nothing abhorrent actually happened, but he suggested that this is the first time that white media and big industry powers did not give the Roc Nation mogul a pass. So I'm going to skip all of the quotations and I'm going to just play what Dame said.
Oh, brother.
And I've never seen them do that before. So that's the thing. Like, usually things get brushed under the rug with him. And I've been accused of shit that I haven't done before. And people don't scrutinize. I didn't get as scrutinized as he's getting. So I'm like, it's just odd to see him in that, getting looked at in that way by white people. Like Jay does, yeah, like I hope that shit didn't happen, but I'm like, damn, they turned the world real. Like people on a certain level have been fucking with him a certain way where he couldn't do no wrong for like 25 years straight. This is the first time he's not getting a pass with white media. Like he can control black media because a lot of them either work or do business with him. But like, drink champs can't get him out of this one, and neither can Charlemagne, because those are the guys that hold him down no matter what he does anyway. So you got to get to People Magazine and Entertainment Tonight right now because they on his head. But the question is why? Like, why now? Because for me, I'd be like, yo, that's so ridiculous. Yo, take that to trial. You're not going to win. Let's get a deposition or something. So I don't know why they on his head so much. Pause. But I never seen him.
I knew it.
I've never seen him in this position to have to explain himself. Pause.
How you what came out with?
I mean, I didn't hear him say anything. I heard a piece of, like I said, for me, I like, you see, I'm doing an interview, so I talk.
That's pretty much the gist of it.
Jesus Christ, with this guy.
All right, so it goes on to say, furthermore, Dame Dash said that Jay-Z could treat the case as ridiculous, so he doesn't understand why white media is supposedly bringing the hammer down so heavily. As for the Brooklyn rap icon's statement on the matter, he thinks that he needs to be open, say his side of the story, and answer questions consistently, rather than allow his attorney, Alex Spiro, to handle things. For example, Dame thought that Spiro's assessment of Jay's public relationship with Diddy would bring a lot of backlash, and it did. Meanwhile, as Dame Dash and many others offer their takes on these scandals, Jay-Z and his accuser's lawyer, Tony Busby, continue to engage in a war of words and legal accusations. The most recent development in this area of Busby's response to Jay's request to impose sanctions on the attorney for allegedly filing a false claim. But we still don't have any tangible or important legal developments to talk about when it comes to this case's future. So there you have it. Dame is wondering why Jay is responding to erroneous allegations, but also noting the fact that the entertainment blogs and the entertainment media, and to quote his words, the white media is on his head. So what do you think? What do you think about that?
I mean, it's an interesting take, I guess. I wanted to know what Dame had to say about all of this. Because this was his right-hand man for a long time. So I wanted to hear what he had to say about that. So I mean, I guess this is interesting. He said a whole bunch of nothing, in the sense where he's basically just saying that, oh well, the part about it that is where I was at as well was, why now? Okay, why now? And because the media is just, honestly, the media is just reporting on the situation. Why are these allegations coming out now? It's more or less my question. Not so much why the media turning on him. I think they're just covering this. And but all right, Mr. Tinfoil Hat over here. All right. I really feel as though that this guy, Jay-Z, that is, I really feel as though he was the master of rubbing elbows, getting to know the right people, doing whatever it took to be in the good graces, to be the the lapdog of those who were really in control and running things. And he'll sell out whoever he needed to sell out. He'll do whatever it is. Go to all those parties, do all of those things. That was Jay-Z to me. And I felt as though that he was doing all of these things so much that he would buy his way, so to speak, into their club. What's astonishing to me, it looks like they're kicking him out. And to me, it looked like he was, I thought he was their boy. I was like, well, there's nobody going to touch Jay-Z, I mean, he didn't have allegations like this floating around his name. Okay. But he had his, he had his stuff floating around his name for decades at this point, but nothing like this. And now that we're here with this, then I was like, well, why? So here's where my foil comes in at. I really think they're done with all of these celebrities. I really think they're done with these people. And here's why. I think the world's going in a new direction. I think where, in 2020, okay, there was a new normal established. All right. And then there's going to be more new normals established going in the future, where these fat cats, big wigs and stuff like that are getting all these checks and doing all this stuff, and you got to pay them this much. And they got this much net worth. They have this many assets on their name, and that they all allowed. Well, we don't need that anymore. We got new things coming down the line. We got new other things going on where we don't want to keep paying you guys this. Basically, they're not going to get their Willy Wonka ticket into the next world. And so Diddy, he's done. And now they're trying to, it looks to me, now Jay-Z did all these things, he did them. I can't prove none of this stuff. But what it looks like is they're also dragging his name through the mud as well, in the same way that Diddy is getting his. I think if now my theory would be proven correct if Oprah Winfrey also gets in this mix. Now she gets in this mix, look out. But I would just say that this whole situation to me is very interesting. It looks like they're just turning in all these dudes. They're done paying with them. They're done thinking, they're done with them acting like they're the big shots because you got put in this position and they're letting them know that. Now, is the media per se turning on him? I guess. I think other people turned on him and they own the media. And so this whole situation here got Jay-Z looking crazy. I never thought I would see this, honestly. And, I've been telling people that, about this situation, I not in, in a million, but not in my lifetime. I didn't think even in his that, he'll get turned in like this, but it looking like he's in a big bit of a mess. So we'll see what happens. Dame is talking Cash Money as if he knows nothing about this. And he doesn't know anything about this type of behavior from Jay-Z. So all of this stuff is very intriguing. But what are your thoughts, man, on Dame Dash saying that the white media is turning on Jay-Z? Do you think that's where it all stops, or what are your thoughts about all of this?
I think the main thing to peel away from what he said was that such a thing can happen. Mm-hmm. And I think to anyone who thinks that that's not a possibility, you should probably rethink that position. Mm-hmm. Way back in 2004, my all-time favorite stand-up special, Dave Chappelle For What It's Worth. I've mentioned that show on this channel before. There's a point during his set where he's talking about speaking out on issues. And he talked about the war in Iraq. And he said that he, at one point, was going to protest the war, but then he saw what happened to the Dixie Chicks. And he said, forget that. Because if they'll do that to 3 white women, they will tear my black ass to pieces. And this is Dave Chappelle, someone who had skin in the game when it comes to speaking and elocuting himself in a very comprehensive and understandable way on world issues and societal issues and whatnot. I think he has continued to curate such a name for himself at this point, but even he recognizes his limit and knows that it doesn't matter how much goodwill and favor he may curry in the eyes of public opinion. If there is a faux pas that is severe enough and it transgresses along a particular ideological line that the world can feast upon to use him as an example, it doesn't matter what he is and what he's done, they will take advantage of that opportunity. Jay-Z is no different. Last week we talked about Malika Andrews. Shouts out to people who comment on that Malika Andrews topic. Most people disagree with me, but that's cool. I talked about how media nowadays is less about reporting news and it's more about being a vanguard for speaking up on behalf of the goodwill of the people. So it doesn't matter whether you look on CNN, if you look on Fox, it doesn't matter. Any news outlet nowadays is less about reporting the cold, hard facts, and it's more about opining and giving an opinion and a perspective on what the issue is. A lot of the people who talk on these shows deliver their opinions stoked in subjectivity. Like there's nothing objective about what they're doing. They're giving takes and opinions. It's literally like the ESPN First Take version of news reporting. We talk about sports all the time. We think that this stuff is just going on with sports, with these debate shows and people giving takes. No, this is news now. Yeah, this is what news reporting has become, is hot takey. I'm going to give my opinion because it's all about professing being in the service of a particular ideology. So in this particular example, we're talking about standing up for women. You know, because it's one of those things. Like, if the conversation is about women, if the conversation is about um, assault of any kind, if the conversation is about racism, if it's any of these ideological things, and there's an individual who is perceived to have transgressed along those lines, the media is going to take full advantage of its opportunity to use that individual as an example of what can happen to you if you transgress along those lines. Because we need to be able to keep people in line when it comes to these various ideologies. So I hope no one thinks that Jay-Z is too big for this, because he's not. Nobody is. Nobody who is, as you say, is not in control of everything. And as rich as he is, as wealthy as he is, and I'm musically, Jay-Z's my number one guy. People know this. I'm the biggest fan of him, particularly between 1996 and 2003. But be that as it may, he's my go-to when it comes to music all time. Well, rapping. But as big as he is not above this, because at the end of the day, he is not the Murdochs. He ain't the Murdoch family, so he don't run Fox. He ain't the people, whoever runs CNN, he ain't them. Like, it's like Chris Rock. Like, I keep referring to stand-up comedy because, to me, if you watch enough of it, these comedians really do give you the real if you're listening. And Chris Rock said a long time ago, Shaq is rich, but the white man who signs his checks is wealthy.
Right.
And he talked about how he doesn't want to be rich, he wants to be wealthy. So it ain't about being rich. It ain't about being the person who plays basketball or football or acts in movies. He wants to be a member of the family who owns the color blue. Like, that was his example. So Jay-Z may run Rock Nation, and he may have all of these philanthropic endeavors, and he might be doing all of this stuff with his music and these various investments that he does. But at the end of the day, he don't own Fox. He don't own CNN. He doesn't own any of the things that are the ultimate, like, purveyors of how we are going to construct the narrative of where these guys fit. He's not in control of any of that. So if you transgress along these ideological lines, you're not above reproach, as big as you may be. So damn right he can be somebody who falls prey to this, whether the allegations are true or not. Oftentimes, whether they're guilty or not, the damage gets done just in terms of the conversation with respect to public opinion.
Yep.
So if this drags along long enough, it doesn't matter what the end result is, the damage will be done.
Mm-hmm.
He's not above that.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't own the color blue, you're not above that. And he don't own the color blue. He might be a billionaire, but there's people way richer than him who control way more. And they control the pipeline to his riches and his wealth. As high up as you think he is. And it gives me no pleasure in saying this, but it is the truth. He is merely, as you suggested, somebody who knew the right people to meet, and who understood the right connections to make, the right associations to have to get to where you are. But ultimately, that doesn't mean that he retains ultimate control. As successful as he may be, as crazy as that sounds, and I know that sounds crazy, but you really have to think beyond being a millionaire or running a record label. Who runs media? There's a person or people who run media.
Mm-hmm.
And persons and people who run media will throw anybody under the bus in order to show the people that they are fighting on behalf of whatever ideology is in vogue at the time. And right now we're dealing with race and women and abuse, domestic or otherwise. If you transgress along any of those lines, it doesn't matter who you are, you can get it. So from that standpoint, in my opinion, Dame Dash has a point. And I think that has something to do with why Jay-Z is so loud with with the defense of himself and his character. Because if you ultimately knew that you were above reproach, what value is there in talking on this so much and putting these long ass tweets and Instagram posts out? Just fight it in the courts and let your lawyers handle it and deal with it. But he knows that his name is at stake. So he's doing what he has to do. And when you don't retain that ultimate control, you know that you're going to have to fight on behalf of the goodwill of your name. So that's kind of how I see this. I don't know how it's going to play out personally because of the admiration that I have for his work. I hope that a lot of this stuff isn't true, but I can't prove whether it is or is not. I don't know. But I do know one thing. He don't own the color blue. You know, he might own a couple of stocks in Crayola, but who owns the rights to the color blue is not him. It's somebody else. So until you are able to control the pipeline, you're going to have to, concede the reality that at certain points you can be put in a compromised, vulnerable position.
Hey man, I agree. And at least for me and my perspective of how I've always viewed this man, I always viewed him as a pawn. Just because right now, and we'll talk about this one, I guess, in our next topic when we talk about the box rap. But Jay-Z was doing that in the 90s, in the early 2000s. He was the person that was tapped and put in these positions. Now, people can argue his talent level. He can rap without writing anything down. He was just that goated. And you can have all of those things. But my point is that he was somebody, in my opinion, at those times, somebody to be used to facilitate a certain ideology and a certain agenda in our community. And what I'm getting at is I feel as though these people are now dinosaurs and they're no longer serving their purpose. And all of those years of kissing ass or probably something else, it actually is over. And because Diddy got away with it for 30 years.
I think they moved on. Like Joe Budden talks about this. Mm-hmm. I think the industry moved on and it just picked the new person. And I think the new person that it picked was Drake, personally. And now the industry is moving on from Drake.
They are.
And they're deciding, okay, you're no longer the person we're tapping to funnel whatever it is that we want to peddle. And I think it's currently looking for its next person. Yeah. But I do believe that that's what's happening with this. I agree 100% with what you're saying. But I just think that they let you eat for as long as they allow you to eat.
Right.
And then so it's your responsibility to eat as much as you can. Mm-hmm. And to Jay-Z's credit, if you want to use that word, he ate a lot.
Yeah, he did.
To the point where he's where he is financially, being where he's at and all of that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But eventually they moved on from him. And I think after him, they tapped Drake. Mm-hmm. And they let Drake eat for however long they let Drake eat. And now they've decided, Drake, you're not it no more. We need to find the next agent.
I
think they're currently on the lookout for the next agent.
Which is insane. It's probably, and I agree with that. and so with Jay-Z, again, these people got catalogs, all this wealth these people amass. It's a recall on it. And we gave this to you, but it was pretty much a loan.
Yes.
And it's recall. And hey man, come to our party next Wednesday. We're doing it. And then he goes, oh, well, they're doing it. But how long you guys been doing this? 50 years, son. Hop on in, and he just gets on in the hot tub with it, So he thought he was part of the club. And what all of these people is realizing is that you never were.
Because you don't own the club.
You don't own the club. Yeah, you were just at the door. You know what I'm saying? And so Jay-Z is learning a harsh lesson. I didn't think the recall would happen is my thing. And for him, because he's at the level of Oprah. I brought in Oprah as a joke, but if that happens, Lord have mercy. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, that Epstein list never came out still. Never. And so I guess some people in there own some colors because their name has not come out yet.
That is correct. They do. The people, yes. Yeah, that association, they do own colors.
They own colors.
That is Manchurian candidate level stuff.
Yeah, boy, they got them colors, boy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The whole damn Crayola box. And so if Diddy's flight logs and stuff hit next year, which I think it's gonna be a big mess next year, and we're gonna be hearing names, and Jay-Z and Diddy ain't gonna be the only ones. And so, yeah, I just think that these loans are getting called in. These people have served their purpose. We're not paying you guys anymore, and we're taking all those assets. They're going to take all of Diddy's assets. They're taking everything. And it looks like because this is one of many lawsuits, the one that, the main one everybody talking about, this is one of many, allegedly, that Jay-Z's going to have levied on his name. So they're going to take him to the cleaners too. And like you said, even if he fights all of that stuff and air quote clears his name, it won't. The longer this stuff drags out, and the more lawyers you got to pay, the more all of this stuff you got to pay, all this whoop-de-whoop, yeah, they're going to make sure they take it all, So it looks like his debt been called in, and man, so to touch on Dame Dash real quick, you know what I'm saying? I don't think it stopped. I don't think it, I agree with you. I don't think this is just a media play, I think this is, you don't own the media, so this isn't, but to me, I don't think it's just a media play. I don't think this is, the media turned their back on him. I think that this is something else going on at play here, and the day I never thought I'd see. So Dame, stop with the pause talk. Stop with the pause talk, man. Come on, man. You got to do better, bro. But I mean, come on, it's Dame Dash.
Hey, man, like Chappelle said in that same special, it's hot right now for black celebrities. I knew it was. He said, "I knew he was in trouble when Kobe got. I knew it was a rap when Kobe got in trouble. He was one of the most wholesome dudes we had." This was obviously before Kobe passed, and this special was literally 20 years ago. It was 2004. But he was saying this stuff. This stuff is literally playing out 20 years later. It's amazing. If you go back in a time capsule and watch some of these stand-up specials, it's unbelievable to see how this stuff is playing out right now. The dude could have been a fortune teller as far as I'm concerned, talking about Chappelle. But yeah, I don't think anybody's above this. No one. If you are not in that room within the room, if you don't control the pipeline of media, if you don't own the color blue, you're exempt. As rich as you may be, as popular as you may be, they may let you pick the halftime performer at the Super Bowl. You're exempt. You are still exempt, especially if you transgress along ideological lines. There's nothing worse than doing that, and this is rife with that kind of opportunity for them to seize upon anybody who's doing that. So good luck to him and anyone else, because you're going to need it. They're not going to stop. Even if charges get dropped or you settle out of court on anything civil related, the sniff is there. And they're going to release them canines on you. So good luck. No one is exempt.
Boy, oh boy.
It's insane. Shouts out to more people who have joined in here. Shouts out to the Six Gardener. Shouts out to Passport Gang. Shouts out to He Is the I Am. Shouts out to Negus Afro Dane Doll. So
that's right.
Yeah, we got a lot of people on the chat, man. Shouts out to everybody who's tuning in on this Christmas Eve. We appreciate you for joining us on the chat. And good luck to Jay-Z and any of y'all other people who are out there having to deal with this stuff. Just know that you are not above any of this stuff.
Hey, bruh. Hey, man. Do your thing, y'all. Sheesh.
And now we move on to 50 Cent. 50 Cent, who believes that female rap is in a particularly interesting state, given the fact that the majority of the artists therein are, to use his words, what does he say, selling box? I think those are his words. So he feels like female rap has become hypersexualized. That's not breaking news. And that it might be potentially damaging to current female generations and whatnot. But, he's lending voice to this in some kind of way. He spoke on it on a recent appearance on a show. So we'll go ahead and play this up here. So this says 50 Cent claims hypersexual rappers are damaging female culture. 50 Cent remains one of the loudest voices in hip hop. He may no longer be topping the charts, but when he speaks out on a music-related topic, people listen. 50 went on the Hot 97.5's Mike P podcast, and he took a stance that had some fans surprised. The G Unit mogul took the current wave of female rappers to task for being overly sexual in their music. He believes that female artists in hip-hop are becoming too one-dimensional as a result. He even voiced concern for the girls who are growing up listening to them. 50 Cent made it very clear that he's tired of the sex raps. I just want somebody to break through that's not trying to sell me some box. Just need one. The rapper went on to assert that women like Megan Thee Stallion, Glorilla, and Lotto may inadvertently be doing harm to the girls who play their music and consider them role models. I think this might be damaging female culture, the rapper said. Seriously, the host chimed in by noting that Sexy Red recently launched a lip gloss line with crass titles for each color. 50 Cent felt the business venture served to further prove his point. What are you supposed to say? So here is 50 Cent speaking on this.
And what about the female rappers?
Female rappers, I just want somebody to break that is not trying to sell some box.
You ain't lying.
One more. I just need one. I just need one. I think this might be damaging female culture.
What do you think about sexy?
Serious.
No, serious. Let's talk about it. Because what do you think about Sexy Red's new lip gloss line called gonorrhea, nut? Why?
Lord have mercy.
Convince them to put gonorrhea on it.
I mean, wild out here.
Look at what you just said, bro.
Gonorrhea and Ultimas.
I got that new gonorrhea on my mouth.
Yeah, that's the new wave.
You'll see how
Can you believe we're here now when it comes to music? Like this is.
Yikes. Mike, what are you supposed to say for male artists? Look, I was doing Candy Shop.
Yeah, 21 questions.
Like metaphors for sexual experiences. They are doing flat out saying the experience in the music now, and then it's like, you know what? Brian Pumper would be a hit right now.
You ain't.
What they were saying and say, this is really what's hitting right now.
Yeah.
It's that graphic right now with the things that they're saying. Then I'm like, look, I think it's fun. And I think that's why the females, they enjoy hearing those type of things being said. Like while they're out partying, it's just like, it's not being taken
seriously. My daughter, she said, female rappers are dominating. I said, the only reason why they dominate is because they aggressive like niggas, and these niggas is bitches.
In the present moment, too, because it almost feels like the floodgates open.
Yeah, they aggressive like niggas, and these niggas is acting like
artists.
Yeah.
Look, the standard is not as high.
Mm-mm.
Like for you to come in as a female artist and say, what do they have to do to cut through or to get into the pack? Really, one joint, Mike, that will get them into a position where they're in it. They won't be able to compete with like Glorilla or like the Sexy Reds, but they'll be in there, and then Nicki and them is on a whole nother level.
Yeah,
another level, like because they're like Nicki.
Well, that's debatable. Yeah, I kind of put her in the same category as them. 50 Cent did acknowledge that he's dabbled in sex raps in the past. So yeah, I won't read that. 50 Cent also has problems with J. Cole after he apologized to Kendrick Lamar for dissing him in a song. He could not fathom such a thing going down in his day. When he apologized, I was like, why did he do that? I wanted to call him and tell him no. Peter Rosenberg asked 50 if the J. Cole apology would hurt his standing as an all-time great. The rapper responded yes without hesitation. So that's where 50 stands in terms of female rap and female rappers becoming hypersexualized. So what do you make of what he had to say?
I mean, how can I disagree? This is we've said this before on numerous occasions when it comes to current rap for the females, and they're just doing nothing but talking about sex work, and it's sex work rap, and so it's trap rap for women. And so you know, Glorilla, Sexy Red, Suki Hana, Ice Spice, all of them, and like you said, Nicki Minaj, Megan Thee Stallion, throw them all in the same boat, in the same pot. You know, there's all kinds of bad pH coming out of that pot once it starts boiling. You know what I'm saying? Okay, those girls, all right, they're a mess, and they're spewing dangerous rhetoric to future generations of young ladies. And so, yeah, I agree with 50. Somewhere down the line, they figured out that this was the play. The women have been apparently, and so this is my thing. These things grow wings and blow up because there's like low key a demand for these things. Like people want to hear this. Society has been over sexualized, and so when the over sexualized raps came out, people were ready for it. Like when Plas came out and he was doing all of that stuff, the ladies loved it. I couldn't stand it. I thought it was too graphic then. This is 2011.
Yeah.
Kevin Gates was doing all his stuff and saying all his things. You know what I'm saying? The ladies loved it. You know, not all ladies, but you know, ladies love that. They like hearing all of that. What's the name of those Zane books on wax, basically, where you're talking all of these sex stories on MP3s and WAV files. so it was at some point it was going to get to where it was like, you know what? There's a lane for this about talking about all of this crazy stuff. And they just went and created these things. Nicki for sure was the one that was the reincarnation of the Little Kims and all of that stuff, where it was already happening back then. But the Barbie thing blew up so much that I'm pretty sure these labels saw dollar signs, and they was like, we need the next sex worker rapper. And then that's when we started getting the floodgates wide open, and you know what I'm saying, straight to the clinic. So yeah, man. So this is wild stuff, man. I don't know. I would figure that the people would get tired of it. So hearing people like 50 say something, and I see regular everyday people complaining about it as well. So hopefully this dies off, and then we get into another form of rap. But honestly, I'm already tired of the box rap. But what are your thoughts on Sir 50 Cent weighing in on all this box rap, saying that, hey, man, it's a little too much for his liking? What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, I'm with him. I've been complaining about this for a long time, but you're also talking to a guy who's been complaining about Instagram for a long time. Yeah. You know, I was one of the only people complaining about what I saw the future becoming, you know, at this point, 13 years ago when Instagram first came out. And I realized, wait a minute, hold up. So now there are apps that are being created that make it easier for everyday women to leverage their existence for fame, money, and notoriety. Okay, I think that's great for society. Let's see how it works out. Fast forward 2024, now we have literal content creators doing this. OnlyFans, for example, is probably the biggest, you know, case study for where we have gotten to in terms of this particular situation. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't like it. But as you said, there's always been box rap with women since I've been listening to rap. So I was born in 1986. So I'm not a Gen Xer. I don't know what was going on in the mid 80s, early 80s, late 70s. I don't know. My frame of reference is pretty much the 90s on. Mm-hmm. So from the time that I've been listening to this, there's always been female prostitution rap. There's always been that. Females, women who the lion's share of their content musically is just talking about sex and sex-related topics. You know, sex, it's either sex or sex adjacent. Or that's primarily what they're known for. You know, that's been the case for a long time. Foxy Brown, Lil' Kim, there's always been this. The difference is, why does it seem more pronounced now? In my opinion, it's more pronounced now because before there was a greater level of balance in terms of the music's representation. So for every Lil Kim and Foxy Brown, you had a Lauryn Hill to offset it, like you had a Heather B to offset it. And you can make fun of these old names if you want to, but imagine this is 1991 and not 2024.
Mm-hmm.
You have people like MC Light to offset it. So these people were there to provide a counterbalance to the women who were doing the box rap of their time. The problem now is, as hip hop has become bastardized and pillaged by the music industry, and we are in this new time where everything is commercialized nonsense, we've removed the balance. There's no more balanced representation. It's either you're in this sandbox or you're not. And you're not going to be successful unless you're in this sandbox. So if you want to be over there doing what they're doing, go ahead, but you won't be successful. So you're basically boxed into a situation in which you're having to make a choice. Either do this and be successful, or be over here and do it for the labor and the love of the game. You know, a la what we talked about with Logic about a month or two ago. Logic is now saying I need to make turn up rap because otherwise y'all won't pay attention to me or respect me, essentially is what he was saying. So he is now put into a situation in which he has to make a choice. Playboy Cardi or what the true essence of my music is. And what Logic has elected to do is try to be the best Playboy Cardi version of himself that he can muster. And no other genre of music, from what I can tell, puts its artists into a position to have to make such an ultimate either or proposition. It's only these rappers having to make this choice. So these women, I don't know them from a can of paint. Maybe Megan Thee Stallion, maybe there is a Lauryn Hill in Megan Thee Stallion. The hell if I know, but I'd never know it because she clearly made her decision. She's going to do the box rap. Glorilla's going to do the box rap. Lotto's doing the box rap. They all sound the same. Sexy Red's doing the box rap. They're all doing it. And there's no balanced representation with which to juxtapose it from to show that there could be another way. The marketplace is being flooded with these individuals. And it's so much so that now the industry is actively seeking them to flood the marketplace with more of these individuals. So they're not even looking for the Jean Grey or the Rhapsody. We don't even want to hear that. Y'all can keep doing your indie thing and make your underground rap, and you can have your 1,000 people who, you know, save you to their playlist on Spotify. We need more of the Sexy Reds. Why? And we've talked a lot about how nowadays, you know, it seems like corporate America and business seemingly has copped to the idea that the best possible way to appeal to the masses is to appeal to their lowest common denominator, their baseline energy, which is sex. Especially men. How do we get men to spend this money? Just, you know, give them the illusion of acquiring sex. How can we get men at these shows? Give them the illusion of acquiring sex. How can I get these men to subscribe to my channel? Give them the illusion of acquiring to sex. How can I get men to follow me on my Instagram? Give them the illusion of acquiring sex. The illusion being, oh, I get to see your pic, even though you're not getting any tangible benefit from this whatsoever. There's no tangible benefit that you are receiving from following this woman. But you don't realize that because the illusion of sex is informing you that what you ought to do is support this individual, when really they don't deserve the currency of your follow. Just like, in my opinion, none of these rappers deserve the currency of your streaming clicks, taps, whatever the hell you want to call it. But this is happening worldwide. This is a Western thing. This is a commercialization thing. This is a capitalism thing. Within the context of hip hop music specifically, this is what it looks like. One box rapper after another. And so the conversation obviously is bigger than just these rappers deciding that they want to sell box. There's a reason why they're doing this. Additionally, there's a reason why these industries are actively seeking this kind of content. So I would suggest that everyone ask the question why that's taking place. I'm sure you'll give lip service to the idea as to why. But there's definitely something intentional that's happening. And I think the reason why it's so effective, outside of the fact that the music industry, these record labels and these corporations partner with these individuals to sort of enhance and further perpetuate their sound to make them louder and more influential. In addition to that being the play, there's also the advent of there being a lack of a balanced representation with the presentation of the music. When you don't have a comparison and contrast type of environment that allows someone to say, I can consume this, but I can also consume this. You know, I don't want Pepsi. Maybe I can get Coke Zero. You know, there's no frame of reference to say maybe there's an alternative. Everything is the same. And without the balance, you're going to continue to get this. It's not going to stop. So good luck to everybody who wants to continue to consume this stuff. But I think 50 Cent is correct. Obviously, there's a deeper reason as to why this is the play, but I don't see it slowing down. It's only going to get worse.
Yep. And personally, I think one of the factors of the deeper reason is that it is to, you know, once you drive down on the morality of people, they're easier to control. And so once they constantly promote sex to both men and women, because before it was just mainly promoted to men, sex that is, and now they're promoting sex to women in the aspect of just give it up, girls, just give it up, just make sure you get a check out of it. And they're hypersexualizing the women. I mean, some of the stuff that I overheard that these ladies are saying is absolutely disgusting. I mean, it is gross stuff. I'm like, I can't believe she said that on the song. Who's saying this? And you know, there's women that's bent over like and you know, and going for it. So you know, one of the things is that people have fallen under the impression that if it makes it on the radio, it's worth your time. They've fallen under the impression that if it comes across your algorithm, where everybody's posting this. No, they pay for those. And so people think it's worth their time at that point. And so once these certain artists that are picked out, handpicked, thrown in your face, with somebody else writing their bars, all kinds of stuff going on in the background to make sure that this person is promoted at the highest level. They're teaming up with your favorite celebrities, your favorite rappers. Like, wow, Sexy Red knows Drake. How she know Drake? You know, it's like, hey, nah, man, this is all part of the play to get everybody to believe in these people's campaigns. And so there's no reason that people should know the name of Sexy Red. None. You know what I'm saying? She should be the stripper at the hole in a wall strip club and wherever city she's from. You know what I'm saying? Ice Spice should be working at a damn freaking Starbucks. You know what I'm saying? That's what she looks like. But they handpick these people, force feed them to the masses, and the masses are going for it because they're under the impression that they have to buy whatever they're being sold.
Yeah. And
then now we're starting. I'm sure we're going to get. We're already getting degenerate behavior because of this. Not to forget that all the time that former OnlyFans models or current OnlyFans models or whatever are coming out of the woodwork saying that, hey man, I'm having intimacy issues. I can't even find nobody to deal with. Once they find out I did OF, my life is over. And it's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, duh, you know. And you know, there's all kinds of things going on. Those BBL women that's going to say, hey man, you know, I regret getting these BBLs. I mean, they're crying and stuff like that. You know, 2 days later, they'll post a picture with all their curves, but they made that revelation online because they're always crying inside because they messed around and did this. So, but they're still promoting it. And so my whole thing is that there's enough evidence on that back end that there's no rewards in this type of lifestyle.
Or rather, the reward isn't worth it.
The reward isn't worth it, correct.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so, and real quick, just on the flip side, like I said, the box rap ain't nothing but trap rap, unaliving rap and stuff like that. And 50 Cent made a lifestyle off of that. Just like how he's sitting there saying, hey, ladies, this is too much. Hey, I made Candy Shop and stuff like, yes, you did make Candy Shop. And that was a little bit more ambiguous, but that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the ones where you say you cocked the hammer back and shot somebody in the face. Yeah. That's what I have. That was very direct.
Yeah, Correct.
And just like I talked about last week, where how men and women are opposites. And so what is really going on is everybody thinks it has to be an apples to apples comparison. No. If women are apples, that means they're a fruit. The opposite would have to be a vegetable. So it have to be something different. You know what I'm saying? And so the different thing is so no, we're not going to talk about your sex rap, 50 Cent. Let's talk about the opposite spectrum side of that spectrum is the trap rap. The underworld lifestyle stuff that the strippers and drug dealers. So the women are the strippers, the drug dealers are the ones that, and the criminal lifestyle stuff. And you did that, you know what I'm saying, your entire career. So much so that all your mogul endeavors and all that stuff is still centered around prison, crime, and unaliving. So you still haven't left that. So back in the day when you were sitting there doing all that stuff, I was saying that to you, 50 Cent, that this is too much. It's a little too direct. You know what I'm saying? What's going on here? You're messing up future generations of our youth.
Mm-hmm.
So when there's kids that's right now that's incarcerated because one of their favorite tracks was Get Rich or Die Trying, some young men really went out there and tried to get rich or die trying, but then ended up in prison. You know what I'm saying? But then they come out and they got Ghost Chapter 7 to watch when they get out. So I don't condone anything that 50 Cent has done. So yeah, he makes a point here that box rap needs to stop, but he himself needs to stop making all his prison and unaliving content for future generations, so they're not messed up.
Absolutely.
So 50, you know what I'm saying? Kick rocks, bruh. But hey, man, he's always content though.
Absolutely, bro. 1,000%. That's why it's so we bring these individuals up, and it's like what they have to say from time to time does have merit, but then it's also a situation where it's like, okay, well, you're doing the same thing just on your side of the spectrum.
Exactly.
So it's just interesting to hear him say that, because that's absolutely correct. We've always said that female box rap, prostitution rap, whatever you want to call it, is merely the woman version of drugs and guns and shooting people and all of that other stuff that the men were doing for the longest time that was affecting future generations of men. Exactly. So if the female prostitution rap might be damaging to female culture, then the drugs and guns and the prison stuff is potentially damaging to male culture, I would say.
Yes.
It's literally the opposite. It's literally two sides. It's opposite sides of the same coin, for sure.
Yep.
So 1,000%, bro. I couldn't have said that better myself. So it's just like tongue in cheek. You make a good point, man, but you're gearing up for Raising Kanan season 4 as we speak.
Exactly, bro.
where more black people are gonna be selling dope, getting killed, and getting sent to prison, and becoming the kingpins of their neighborhood. So,
and from what I hear, authentically representing you.
Man, that quote of his is gonna live in infamy on this channel, man. That is gonna live in infamy on this channel. Authentically represents Black and Latino communities. That's something else. But shouts out to 50 Cent. Yeah, the box rap has got to go, or we need some balance. Either or, but that's what we're getting. They're telling us that we need to drink Coke, and they're giving us Coke, and they're not giving us any options.
Yeah, and you brought up two good names there. Shout out to Jane Gray and Rhapsody, you know what I'm saying, who's never dropped the ball and maintained their integrity their entire careers. So y'all keep doing y'all thing. And I know there's others out there. Please let us know. Drop them in the comments. I want to hear some sisters give some bars out here nowadays.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool, boy.
Okay, so this is kind of weird. I saw this pop up on my various feeds where I get information and potential channel fodder, and my immediate reaction was, this is very odd. So apparently there's leaked footage of a phone call between Young Thug and a woman named Lena Saeed while Young Thug was still incarcerated. And in the footage, she's professing like her love for Young Thug, which is interesting because it coincides with the time in which she was supposed to be with some other person in this, Mariah the Scientist. I'm not exactly sure what this woman does.
I think she's a scientist.
Okay, I'm pretty sure she's. I'm pretty sure she's a particular kind of scientist. But so this is weird because it has people talking about this, and internet sleuths are hard at work aligning the various timelines, and they're basically deducing that things don't add up. So this says Young Thug and Lena Saeed seemingly respond to leaked jail call video. Young Thug is seemingly giving his side of the story after a jail phone call with entrepreneur and model Lena Saeed from 2 years ago was recently shared online. On Monday, a nearly 15-minute video of an emotional video call between Thug, now a free man, and Saeed was leaked by Law and Crime. According to the timestamp, the call was recorded in July 2022 and later uploaded to the Law and Crime Trials YouTube channel. Thug has been romantically linked to Mariah the Scientist, 27, since the summer of 2021, just months after he was arrested on gang and racketeering charges in Atlanta. Although it's unclear what led to their conversation, Saeed is heard apologizing to Thugger for something that came out wrong, adding that she did not mean it that way. After 7 minutes in, Saeed becomes visibly emotional and says through her tears, "I don't like anyone. No one's like you. I don't like them. I want you." Shortly after the video of Thug and Saeed was shared online, the ATL rapper took to X, seemingly responding to the situation. Thug appeared to refer to Saeed as my twin and nothing else, and expressed confusion about why she spoke on loving other people during the call, stating he ain't giving no F about no hoes. So here are some of his tweets. Them N-words done showed they hands. Them N-words ain't in. Man, me and Twin was talking about some whole other serious stuff. I don't know why she spoke on loving other people or anyone else, because ain't giving no F about no hoes or N-words. I'm the capital P, whatever that means. LOL, that's my twin and nothing else. Never have, never will, LOL. I can have that little stuff right now if I wanted it, but she been pushing the P harder than N-words. LOL, that's the twin. I got who I want. So that's the woman there in question there, this Lena person. Saeed, who is rumored to be romantically involved with boxer 26-year-old Devin Haney and announced she was pregnant in August, also issued what seemed like to be a response to her Instagram story on Monday. That video was before I met my baby daddy. I would never talk to Thug or any other man. So whatever. Okay. Not long after Thug's jail call video with the model appeared online, a separate phone call from May 2022 was also shared. In that call, Thug is heard chatting with his close friend, Jeffrey Ogunlesi, about his relationship with Mariah the Scientist, admitting at the 139 mark that their relationship scares him. So we're going to back out of this and we're going to play the call in question between the two individuals. So let me go back. All right, so that's shared, right? You see that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here is this clip.
I feel really bad. I swear to God, I didn't mean it. It just came out wrong. I worded it so wrong. And you took it the wrong way. I love you.
Do you?
Hmm?
Do you?
I love you. Everyone knows this.
This is bizarre.
It's weird, dude. I mean, I have my thoughts, but
Yeah, I mean, this is weird. This is very bizarre. But people are essentially, you know,
Something.
timing the thing up, right? They're timing it up and they're saying this video, took place during the time when you was with this chick. So what's the deal? So this guy's literally fresh out, and this is what folks are talking about. But I don't know. What do you what do you think about that? I thought that whole video was very strange.
it was strange to me. It seems like my take on this situation was more or less the Devin Haney thing and what he has to deal with this situation. Now, this is supposed to be his old lady, with child now. And, this video comes out with her crying on the phone with Young Thug. Now, she said this was before she met Devin, but that wasn't too long ago. That wasn't too long ago. And the thing I had with this is the sharing of these women in the sense that, why, I mean, I know why, we discussed it before, but why these guys that are in these industries, are sharing the same women. I mean, you go to this girl's IG page, and it's just like how you say, well, it's just her being pretty, her being pretty, her being pretty. And it's nothing else. Her trying to look like Kim Kardashian, her trying to look like Kardashian.
Well, she is, like I said last week, these chicks all look the same.
Yeah.
So they all follow a blueprint. They're typically brunettes. They typically have there's a range in terms of their skin complexion, and they're typically long hair brunettes, exotic looking in the face. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much what they all look like.
Mm-hmm. And surgeries, again, it's odd.
Tattoos.
Yeah. And so the thing is with Thug there, he was in the situation that he was in, whatever, whoop-de-whoop. But, and of course he's going to downplay it now because he was supposed to have been with this scientist girl at the time. But even then, it didn't look like he was really like, it looked like he was just playing a role there himself. It looked like she was playing a role there. Yeah, I think it's just two fake ass people sharing emotion. And I think that's the part about it that's so bizarre. And because it's not like she really does love or care for him because, well, she just went and started dealing with, another celebrity. And the same thing with Young Thug, he had, I'm pretty sure this was his one of many jump offs that he had going on in his life at the time, or probably still currently has going on.
Yeah.
So to me, I think this was just two fake ass people just on jail call. But I had seen somebody talking about this last night, and it is good timing. And whenever they drop this, because the streets is loving all of this stuff because of, well, the Travis Hunter stuff is also, which we will cover later on. But the streets can't get enough of all of this messy relationship stuff. So they're just out here posting stuff for the algorithms, I'm sure, for the receipts. But yeah, man, I just think this whole situation, I think it's strange, as you mentioned. And on one hand, you kind of I feel some type of way about, Haney having to deal with this, seeing this. But at the same time, like I said, you saw her Instagram page before you DM'd her. So, you're going to see this type of stuff on the back end. So it's just a strange situation, bro. I agree. But I think this is just two fake ass people faking fake love with each other and fake tears. But what are your thoughts, man, on this strange situation with Young Thug and this Saeed lady exchanging tears over the phone?
Yeah, I think these are just two weirdos. Devin Haney is whatever to me. I'm not going to complain about his decision making because I have retired from complaining about any of these guys' decision making.
That's also true.
Yes, I have put that down. I no longer care. I'll give an opinion if asked, but I don't bang the gavel on what they should and should not be doing because they are going to do it anyway. So who am I to sit here and distress over it when it's not going to change anything? They're going to do it anyway. So as in terms of Devin Haney, good luck. I hope it was worth it because you're going to need every bit of all of your prize fight money when you need to start paying child support, because I highly doubt that it lasts forever, sir. In reference to Young Thug, we're talking about a guy who, was at the forefront of black men wearing dresses on album covers. He wore a pixie dress on one of his album covers. He appeared nude on another one. He's made very odd, strange comments in the past. He's talked about how he feels about kissing men, I believe. That's right. He's just done odd things and said odd things throughout his time, and everyone just passes it off because of his eccentricness. So when you make music, you can be weird and it's acceptable because that's what allows him to do what he does musically. So he gets a pass for it. But I'm pretty sure his eccentricities boil over into his personal life. And so it does not shock me one bit that he would be exchanging this kind of conversation with a person like this, with the timing of it aligning with his relationship to another one of these industry type women. So no surprise, this is par for the course. I think this is who this guy is. And as we continue to devolve further into social anarchy, where we're just living in a world devoid of order and structure and everyone can do whatever they want, this is just going to become passe. It's not really a big deal. Why wouldn't this be the kind of conversation of the kind of women he's been with? He is an agent of change. He proudly wears dresses publicly as if that's what people ought to be doing. And he's an example of these kinds of movements. And so who are we to argue otherwise?
Yeah, I agree, man. So, and that's why I wrote it off as two, fake ass people showing fake emotion. Because I wasn't buying nothing she was selling. And I damn sure wasn't buying nothing he was selling.
Well, he wasn't even talking. He was just...
Well, his fake ass wiping tears. Like he gave a damn. I'm sure, man, it's crazy in themselves. So, getting interaction is getting interaction. You know what I'm saying? A girl that used to, exchange energies with, she coming through. It's like, all right, cool, get on the phone with her. So, it just is what it is. But, I just think that these weird people, man, they have a lane for themselves, bro, apparently. And I think people just need to start trying to live like them. I think the ladies that are normal or,
quote
unquote, right? That follow this young lady and think that she bad and she got it all figured out. I don't think people should be living like that. And for anybody that's out here that's trying to live like Thug, I don't know how he beat that case. Lord have mercy. But he did. But for anybody that's trying to live like Thug and deal with these sleuths, you can, I guess have at it, man. But yeah, I'm with you in the same boat that the Devin Haney guy,
I'm pretty sure he knew about her and association with Young Thug and didn't care. He still wanted to get with her anyway. They don't care, man. I'm trying to tell you, they don't care. You look at the face and the body and you say permission granted. That's what these guys do. They don't care. They don't care. So he already knew. So her baggage to him was a non-factor, clearly, because he shot the club up. And so he's inextricably bound to this woman for at least the next 18 years. And it wasn't even a discussion. He knew this, and his better judgment did not get the best of him. And he did what he did anyway. So I just no longer care to talk about the fact that they make these kinds of decisions. And I prefer rather to now talk about the dynamic as a whole, and
Mhm.
what are the environmental circumstances which cause one to be in that boat where they're foregoing the better judgment and doing things that are ill-advised.
Yeah, agreed, man. So, hey, best of luck to everybody involved. But those tweets from Young Thug, those were hilarious. I thought those were all the pushing P and he's capital P.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun stuff.
You know what's one thing that I just thought of? So we talk a lot about how, society is changing and we're trying to blur the lines. We want, well, at least socially, that the idea behind gender neutrality is really being pushed, right? So you know how we always came to understand that women find men who get other women attractive. Like that's always been a thing for women. Like a woman wants to know that a woman wants to feel validated in her being with this guy by knowing that he's desirable. And one of the main ways that she can learn or tell or figure out that he's desirable is how many women he's had or been with, or his ability to get women. And I told the real quick story one time about how I was hanging out with this one woman years ago down here. We were at a popular place to hang out, and it was just me and her on some one-on-one stuff. And a group of women walked by, and she told me to go and get one of those girls' numbers. She sent me on this mission. She wanted to see me get one of those girls' numbers. So she put pressure on me, because had I come back without a number, I feel like she would have stopped talking to me.
That's crazy.
She wanted to know whether I can get one of those girls' numbers. She wanted to know, like, she couldn't glean my desirability for herself. She had to glean it third party. So she dispatched me literally to go and get an attractive woman's number so that it can inform her on how desirable she can believe me to be.
That's insane, bro.
And I don't. And it is insane, but I literally experienced it firsthand. So that's why I don't think that that's a I don't think that that's nonsense. Like, women do stuff like that. They want to feel like a guy is desirable by knowing how many women they can get, which is completely counterintuitive to the idea of monogamy, which is a whole other conversation. But these are some of the nonsensical things that women have done. Well, now we see it on the flip side with guys. Guys are doing this now too. The modern man is doing this, where apparently a woman's desirability is tethered to how many dudes in the industry she's been with. It's weird. It's so weird. I can't rationalize this thought process any other way. This is the only way that I can make it make sense. So, like, just like a woman says, I can now be with this guy because he can get other women, some of these dudes are probably walking around saying, yeah, I'll get with her because she's been with that dude.
That's weird.
It is weird, but that's new human behavior. How else do you explain these guys knowing how many industry dudes these women have been with, and they get with them anyway? How else do you explain that? I can't explain it any other way. So that's where I've relented to. That's the understanding that I have come to make for myself. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to me, and I like to live in a world where things make sense.
I agree.
So that's the only way that I can rationalize it. This chick has so much skin in the game, so much industry skin, and you get with her anyway and get her pregnant. But you're supposed to be a smart man who makes sound decisions. So I can't make math out of that other than to say this is where we are, where this is the opposite side of the same coin.
So they love it.
They must.
Y'all some strange dudes out. Hey, man, I know nobody on a conscious approach living like that, man. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all not doing that. But for the dudes out there in the industry, and that makes a lot of sense, because I kind of figured that. But once the way you put it like that, it just makes me think that Devin Haney smiles inside when he knows that Young Thug hit that. So I shouldn't have any level of empathy for him, because I'm putting myself in that position where it's like, hey man, I got this lady and this video coming out and everybody talking about, my old lady crying for Thug, but he liked that. Some real cucky behavior, bro. So, I can't get with these dudes, man. So y'all live y'all lives, man. I don't know what's going on nowadays, bro.
Hey man, that's the only way that I can think of it, man. I can't rationalize it any other way. I can't. I just think now we all doing the same thing. So to the like for well, we talk about body count as a detriment. To some of these dudes, body count is a positive. So and it's even bonus points when it's industry body counts.
Yeah,
So
you know that.
good luck, Mr. Haney. Good luck.
Yeah, hey, shout out to Thug, bro. Keep pushing P, bro. Keep pushing the P. Whatever the hell that means. Yeah.
Oh. Part 2 of our Travis Hunter conversation. Starting to feel guilty about this because it's become a bit of a running joke. This is venturing into meme territory.
It is
on the internet, and I told myself that I was going to retire this, but I think it bears talking about it again. So I wasn't mad when you brought this to my attention, but Travis Hunter apparently has deleted his Instagram because the noise around his relationship to his fiance has just gotten too loud. And for anyone who is unaware, Travis Hunter is engaged to this chick who he says he's been with for 5 years. And everything started during senior day after Colorado won the football game, and the vibes between him and his girl was off. She seemed to be ungrateful. Like she didn't want to be there. She wasn't very happy. It just wasn't a good look. And so people were speculating that maybe she isn't the right woman for him because of her attitude and her disposition in that moment. It didn't look very good. And then you got Travis Hunter going on live with this woman explaining the situation, and she's talking about how she has an attitude problem and she's trying to learn and grow as a person and all of this other stuff. And it's just snowballed and it's just snowballed. And now you got some of these people popping up on the internet with receipts about this woman's history. And so it's just become a bit of a mess. So we'll go ahead and get into it. This says Travis Hunter deletes Instagram after latest allegation about his fiance dancing on another man. Travis Hunter has deleted his Instagram page as rumors continue to surface about his fiance, Leanna Lene. The latest drama revolves around a video circulating on social media, which allegedly shows her dancing and twerking with another man at a party. Other critics have targeted a video of Colorado head coach Deion Sanders, seemingly asking Lene to stand up in support of Hunter at his Heisman Trophy presentation. The projected top 5 NFL draft pick has already spoken out in defense of his fiance while streaming live on Twitch. After describing the criticism as draining, he added, "Why would I break up with my girl because the internet want me to break up with my girl? Just leave me alone." When DJ Academics shared Hunter's latest social media move, fans spoke out in support in the comments section, although many were still critical of Lene. Hate that he seems like a super nice kid who's about to learn stuff the hard way, one user wrote. Another added, "It's sad how evil this world is. He's such a good kid that deserves support. If his girl is who she is God only can judge her. She have the right to change if it's her past, but no, it's bullying and evil. Y'all perfect." Like, people really need to learn how to write better sentences. Travis don't deserve this treatment, sad world. Fans haven't been the only ones to criticize Hunter's relationship with Lene. Former NFL stars Dez Bryant, Antonio Brown, and Nate Burleson, as well as Bow Wow and more celebrities, have discussed the drama in recent days. Check out the status of Travis Hunter's Instagram page below. So Travis Hunter has deactivated his Instagram after an alleged video resurfaced online showing his fiance dancing with another man at a party years ago. And that was a tweet from DJ Academics. So we'll go ahead and cut away from this, and we will play a couple of videos to provide a little more context. The first one is Travis Hunter talking about why he would ever break up with his girl because the internet wants him to. So here is that particular sound.
My
would I break up my girl because the internet want me to break up my girl? Ain't nobody know me or her personally. That's what y'all understand. Y'all not in my personal life, so like y'all don't understand. Y'all don't know what we go through. And it's draining because everybody's always got something to say. Like, bro, just leave me alone, bro. Let me be me. I've been with my girl for 5 years. So all of a sudden this year, y'all want to say something? Leave me alone.
Bro, going through it, man.
Bro,
For real.
I actually might just take a break for a long time. The delay is crazy. Hold on, let me turn it off.
All right, so that's that. So as we move away from this, here's more. Here are a couple more videos. Well, hold on 1 second. I think I may have. Yeah. So here's a couple more videos. This is so this is a video. This is a video where somebody showed that video in question. So this is screenshots of the thing that caused him to delete his Instagram in the first place, where she's allegedly dancing on some other dude at a party. Oh, come on.
Haha, no free ads, man.
Oh,
Come on. They gotta pay for this.
no way, bro. I'm not sitting here for an ad for a minute and it doesn't let me skip. That's insanity. That is insanity.
Mine is Matt
Hey, let's
Colton.
opine while it plays in the back.
No, this is one. This is it here.
5 years, y'all.
5 years, bro. There's no way Travis Hunter's girl is on my DMs, bro.
So yeah, as you can see, that's her. And that guy in that picture is not Travis Hunter. But as they say, this was years ago. And there's Shadur coming to his boy's defense, as he should. So that was that. And then there's one more. There's one more.
Oh, she's still out here. She got more.
Yeah, there's one more. And so this is another one of her allegedly, with someone else in a more intimate setting.
Oh, jeez.
Same tats too.
A eater. Ain't no way.
3 years ago, they've been together for 5 years. That's that same tat. And my boy in that bitch putting her to work.
Ain't no way.
Yeah. So a lot of people are at this young man's expense opining on what he should and should not be doing about this situation. But it just seems to be snowballing to the point where I feel bad for this kid. So what do you think about these latest bits of information and Mr. Hunter deleting his Instagram because of how loud the noise around his relationship has gotten?
I mean, I honestly, I was surprised once the receipts or alleged receipts, just the amount of dedication that I've been seeing for people to expose this girl, and on one hand you go, hey, this kid clearly knows she's for the streets and he just wants to be embarrassed on his own time. He doesn't want everybody to be all up in his business with it. But on the other hand, he promotes his relationship, all over the internet. And, they got a YouTube channel together and stuff like that. So I think Travis Hunter has, like you said, he's venturing over into meme territory. He's going to be a punchline, especially for his generation. Nobody want to be a Travis Hunter. You know what I'm saying? And I think that he's just going to have to serve as a case study at this point. Now you don't want to see anybody that you wanted to see succeed turn into a case study. But even if they stay together and have a long, successful marriage, this whole situation is still going to be something that people refer back to and look back on, and because they already got their opinions. And even if he stays with this girl for whatever, they never get divorced, she never get him for his money or whatever, they're still going to say he simped out because the internet has receipt of her tricking. And so he's in a weird situation. And I think that what these young people need to learn is that the internet ain't for all kinds of information. His old lady was saying all kinds of things that in the eyes of many people got him looking silly and looking stupid. Just putting his business out there. And at some point, I think it is best to just get off of these apps. Now he's getting off because it seems like he's, just he doesn't want to see it. He said that every time he opened his phone, it's some stuff about him, and his situation going on. But the thing is that he wants to deactivate it now and no longer share or no longer see. But the thing is that that should have been the place to begin with. The internet does not need to know about your situation. You could have got played behind closed doors like everybody else in the comfort of your own home. All right. There's all kinds of athletes right now that got these crazy baby mamas. Some athletes got, like we talked about in the Haney situation, some of these athletes got, they're sharing the same baby mama. Okay. So I'm sure she ran the same game on those guys and played them and had them looking silly. But it was all behind closed doors. We only, see the end result once these guys are hit for the child support. So this would have been the same situation had they not been so out in the open with it. And last thing I'll say is that Travis Hunter, he's a new person.
Yeah.
And he goes live, he talks to his people, and these young people. Now, the old heads is getting into this in the sense where, we're trying to warn him. But the people that's like around his cohort and stuff like that are younger than him, they're the ones that's just going hammer on this guy. And I've seen some older people go hammer on him too. But they're not letting this down. And this new age of pulling receipts, I mean, they're digging 3-4 years back to prove that this girl was out here being shared. And last thing I'll say is that, hey, man, if I see a receipt from last year, it's like, all right, cool, y'all got it. But 3-4 years, they probably already talked about it or got over that, or she probably learned her lesson. Like it's 3 years ago. That's a while ago. So it's not, but it kind of is. You want fresher receipts than that. But still, nevertheless, because again, when he was like, y'all don't know us, y'all know our situation. Because I've heard all kinds of things of her being OF, a stripper. Like there's all kind of allegations with this young lady. And he probably knew these things. So just like how you talked about with Haney and stuff like that, where these guys be knowing. So he probably knew that she had this street element to her, but didn't care. And he feels like he's probably getting dragged for no reason because he don't be caring about that. So it's a wild situation for this dude. But all in all, I think that, the best move was for him to get off the internet. And I don't want to say stay off, do your thing or whatever. You still got to make money or whatever the hell. But I would say no more sharing your relationships online, whether it's this girl or the next. It's not the people's business because they're going to find a way to get messy with it. But what are your thoughts, man, on the interneting on Travis Hunter and his relationship, pulling up receipts, doing all kinds of things to the point where Travis Hunter had to just deactivate his social media. What are your thoughts?
Before I get into that real quick, let me address the comments real quick. So first off, let me address Jakendrick Williams. I don't know if you're still here, bro, but if you are, he left a comment saying that this goes back to last week or one of the videos that we did last week. He said Malika and this guy actually commented on that video. So he came back into the stream to comment on that again. And he said Malika Andrews hates black men. Y'all were simping for Malika Andrews. Let me get one thing clear. That was me. That probably wasn't Dogon. So don't say y'all, because Dogon was the one who was critical of her. I was the one who was somewhat coming to her defense. So if there was anyone who was simping for Malika Andrews, it was me, not Dogon. So that kind of tells me that you didn't watch the whole video if you feel like it was both of us.
Yeah, didn't watch
doing that. Second of all, I was not defending her per se. I was getting into the psychology behind why she might do what she does. That's different than defending. But be that as it may, if you feel like I was simping, have at it, sir. It's not the first time somebody said that about me. It won't be the last.
They're probably gonna say I was simping because the receipts that they're pulling up is 3 years ago.
Whatever. So yeah. So I wanted to address this. I wanted to address that because I seen that he was back and he really felt some type of way about that. Second of all, looks like we got a super chat from Love My Kids.
Yeah.
So she said people need to find something else to do. I have a son that played in the NFL. They have a whole class dedicated to finance and life decisions. Well, hopefully people like Travis Hunter can heed some of that advice when they get into these classes, lest he finds himself going down the wrong path and it costing him a lot of money in the long run. She also said the pressure that he's undergoing into the league is huge. Added pressure coming from a place of no good isn't needed. People don't consider what this may do to a person's mental. I kind of think they do, which is why they are admonishing him for going this route. I just don't think he cares. And then DJ Ortiz, he said Fat Joe is not Puerto Rican. He's Cuban and Spaniard. Just here to denounce him on behalf of all Puerto Ricans.
Hey, right on, bro.
Yeah. Shouts out to you for that, brother. We appreciate the accuracy for sure. We will. Fat Joe is a clown on this channel too, bro. So we with you on that. And then Love My Kids once again says, ignore the village who aren't for you. So, point well taken. Now let me get into this. Everything you said is accurate. I don't disagree. I believe he knew everything about her and he doesn't care. Yeah. I am firmly convinced of this. Like when this started happening, we would rail against it. Bro, why are you doing this? You should make better choices. You should do this. You should do that. When I had a light bulb moment, who were we talking about? We were talking about Jalen Green. We were talking about Jalen Green with Drea Michelle. And during that conversation, I had a light bulb moment. And I remember saying back then, I did a quick Google search on Drea Michelle. It took me 30 seconds. And I saw that she was with Javaris Crittenton. She was with the quarterback used to play for Virginia Tech. He's now a backup, I think, for the Giants. Tyrod Taylor, there you go. And a bunch of other professional athletes. She's also been linked to people like The Game and Lil Wayne. So full well this chick has skin in the game, industry skin. He's a new human. Jalen Green's what, 21, 22?
22.
Bruh, you be on Instagram and TikTok, you know who this chick is. So it's like you have this information handy and you decide to do this anyway. So we need to reprogram the way we look at this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
We're at the point where we need to reprogram our brains to not look at this as he's been victimized, but rather it's a situation where this is what happens now. They know this stuff and they don't care. So just like I talked about in the previous topic, he doesn't care. So just like these women want to know that a dude can get numbers and that's why I like him more because he can get other chicks, even though he may actually explore other options while I'm with him. Now we're looking at a situation where these young cats, these new human dudes, they looking at her saying, I want her more because she has industry skin in the game. It's no longer a detriment. That's my theory on this. I truly believe this at this point. They're looking at it saying she got skin in the game. She been with a couple of dudes in the industry. That's vouch enough for me. I'll take it. The only thing that makes me uncomfortable is those other industry dudes didn't get her pregnant. So why are you? Well, that we know of. They didn't get her pregnant, right? You know, that's public knowledge, right?
Yeah.
But you're sitting here doing it. And that's my only thing is don't do that. You want to be the next guy in line, fine, whatever. This is what's going on now. It's the move. But don't shoot the club up, bro. Because that's monies on monies on monies, dollars on dollars on dollars. So much of your hard-earned wealth being stifled away from you because of someone you slept with. But otherwise, this whole dynamic to me is new human behavior. I just kind of feel like this is what's going on. I am literally changing my brain to rethink how I look at this kind of stuff. I firmly believe he knew this about her. He knew this. This ain't nothing new. So I don't even think he feels as though he's getting dragged. He's just deleting his Instagram because he's tired of the notifications. He's tired of seeing it. Like it's become exhausting for him to see it all the time. So he's just deleted his IG for now because I think he'll get back on.
Yeah,
but do I think he feels like woe is me, the world is crashing down on me? Only because of how annoying it is to deal with all the noise. But he don't feel no type of way about her. He knew this stuff. These dudes know this. You got Instagram, you know this. So I don't, they're just gonna keep doing it because this is the way it is now. It really has become more of a neutral playing field in terms of the things that we have always perceived to be like benefits and drawbacks for how we choose to get with people. So having a large body count used to be like, maybe I'll give this a second thought or further vet the situation. Now it's the opposite. Now an increased body count is indication that I should get into this. That's all the validation I need. So that's really what I feel is happening here. So I don't feel bad for him or good for him. It simply is. I just hope it works out for him. I hope they stay together so that he's not paying ridiculous amounts of child support, but because he is going to get into the league and have immediate impact. And the moment he is eligible for an extension, he is going to become a $100 million player.
Yeah, he is.
Easily. And when that happens, I hope that he is not in a situation in which he has to forfeit a large amount of that because of this. But this is where we are with this. I firmly believe they be knowing this on purpose, and it doesn't matter. How they look, the way they parade themselves on the internet. She can be an OnlyFans model for all he cares. He can notice she's been with 5-10 rappers. Like I said with Brittany Renner, she wrote that book detailing all of the industry dudes she been with. The next dude will still sign up for it.
Insane.
She wrote that book way before she got with PJ. PJ still said, I'll take it. I don't care. They don't care, bro. They don't care. So if they don't care, why the hell would I?
That's fair. And I think that it's messed up because being somebody that's older than these people, you feel some type of, I think, some tribal responsibility to try to guide these young men in the right direction. But they do seem to enjoy this. And my thing is that, on the back end of all of this stuff, I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear anything. Oh, word, you got $100 million guaranteed. You got this much for endorsements. Oh, word, she divorced you and took, whatever. I want to hear it. Especially in this situation where the entire internet tried to warn you. And so, yeah, for Jalen Green, who just doubles and triples down because he loves it. Yeah, I don't care, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Do your thing, Jalen. And for anybody else that's out here in the streets, you know what I'm saying? I've been out here, in the dating market, had to break up because things went left. Anybody out here got a perfect resume, And so, you know, but when we see this happening in 4K, you know, the natural inclination is to go, hey man, I didn't like that pain when I had that going on. You know what I'm saying? When I saw that text message that confirmed some things for me, I didn't want to see that shit. You know. So people are reaching out because, you know, they don't want him to go through that hurt. But it seems like the reach outs are hurting him.
Yes. Yeah.
So at this point, you know, it's like, all right, bro, dropping the ball, you know, just do you at this point. But there's going to be people who never let this down. You know, there's going to be people that are going to continue to try to look for receipts, try to find things, probably make up things at this point for certain whatevers. So there's going to be all kinds of stuff going on with this because it is a hot topic. That's what I'm saying. This young man he's got such a special thing going on with his life. You know what I'm saying? Trying to explain this to somebody that doesn't watch football, I was like, basically, you know what I'm saying? Travis Hunter is like the LeBron of football, you know, in the sense that he's a phenom. And as soon as he hit the league, he's going to be big time. Everybody's going to know his name. And so long as he stays healthy, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, he should be a Hall of Famer. Like the whole path is already laid out for this dude. You know what I'm saying? Endorsements, he's personable. He got all this, he's got everything. And I think that since everybody sees him, the young people love him, the older people who've been watching him are enjoying what he's got going on. So he's got this bright light and everybody's paying attention to everything he does. So, you know, this is a crash course for him of the level of celebrity that you are in now. And so where everybody's going to be in your business. And if you're sitting there offering it to the internet the way that he and his old lady does, then they're going to go through it with a microscope and fine tooth comb to try to find inconsistencies and all kinds of things because of the level of celebrity you already are. So, you know, this young man has to be careful what he's asking for. He's clearly up there, and it's not going to stop with these people who are egging on your life and getting into it. So that's why I said, you know, my first remark is that, you know, him shutting down the social media, you know, this is a good step one, you know, but, you know, it sucks that it's probably just because, like you said, it's just annoyed, you know what I'm saying? Or he just doesn't want to see it. But, you know, I think he needs to continue with this stream of keeping his life protected and, you know, only share so much, you know, and keep your old lady away from everybody. You know, you know, stop allowing her to be at all of these things getting weird. You know, yeah, they need to have an understanding.
Yeah, but, well, let's remember what started all of this isn't him putting his personal business on Front Street. It was her behavior.
Yeah,
that's what started a lot of this.
No, and that's true. But then once people, because listen, and I agree with you. But it's also the stuff where they're digging in her stuff where she was saying that I didn't find him attractive. Or not find him attractive. Well, he wasn't my type.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's all this other stuff. So now people are digging through things. Once they saw that, they started digging and doing their research. Yeah. Who is this girl? What they got going on? Oh, y'all got a channel?
Yeah.
She said, what about him? This girl don't even like him. That's correct. And then here comes the snowball.
Yeah, that's true. And but the thing about it is, I don't think any of that was done at his behest. I feel like she's the one doing this. So he can deactivate his Instagram all he wants. She is the attention seeker in this dynamic. Yeah. Travis Hunter, if Travis Hunter had it his way, he would ball, become a millionaire, play football, and go home at night on some Kyler Murray stuff and play Call of Duty every night. He's a Twitch. He streams on Twitch, bro. He plays video games.
Yeah.
He's not doing this industry thought Instagram model stuff. She is. So him deactivating his Instagram is inconsequential to whether he's going to be able to avoid all of this. Is she going to deactivate hers? I guarantee you she's not.
She love the game.
Because and that's her livelihood.
Yeah. Listen, that's what I'm saying. So she love the game and he loved it.
So that's why. So it doesn't matter what he does, deactivate whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah, this is what he chose willfully. So it is what it is, man. This is where we are with this stuff in the world today. This stuff is seen as a badge of honor. Like, he don't feel no type of way about her history. He doesn't care. He doesn't. The last thing that I'll say, man, and the thing that makes me the most nervous about this isn't because of Travis Hunter, because he's already made his bed. He's going to have to sleep in it. I'm just thinking about the generations, right? And I said before, we was talking about an OnlyFans subject a while back. And I mentioned how I fully see a world in the very near future. I have a 15-year-old nephew.
Mm-hmm.
And my nephew is probably going to, if he has not already, going to have to enter into the dating world. And he's going to be dating girls who are probably all over Instagram. He's going to have to accept that. Because where else are you going to go? You going to go date a chick who's a Mormon or something? Like,
doing that.
Yeah, and maybe his dad, my brother, will steer him in that direction. Who knows? Or maybe not specifically a Mormon path, but the path of least resistance.
Mm-hmm.
But if he grows up typical of the world, he's going to be in high school, college, and he's very well going to be dating chicks who have OnlyFans or who leverage themselves on Instagram like it's no big thing, because it's just what humans do nowadays.
Or they mama did, or you know what I'm saying, that girl's mama did OnlyFans.
Yeah, correct. And so she's following suit. Like, this is just the way we are with this stuff. Sign of the times type business. So I am concerned when it hits close to home for me personally. But third party with people like him, he knew this. I firmly believe he knew what he was getting himself into. So as I said before, if he didn't care enough to at least second guess it, then why should I? Whatever happens to him will be of his own doing, and he'll deserve everything that comes his way. And it is what it is, man. Every athlete after him who follows suit is the same. They'll get what's coming to them. You can't change it. There's no slowing the train down. So just sit there and watch it pass by.
Hey, Trav, if you like it, I love it, bro. So keep rocking on, bro. If this is your cup of tea, it's my cup of Joe. So, so do your thing, boss. I am not trying to add to any mental anguish.
Yeah.
But I would just say that even, I guess, for future generations, man, there's not much you can do about this type of thing besides just keep, you know what I'm saying? I guess talking about its mythology, like talking about, like you said, like what causes it, or, you know, this line of thinking or whatever. But these people as individuals, they're making these choices for at this point, like you said, it's very obvious that they there's some part about them that loves this, if not all the way love this type of stuff. So let these guys have at it. Yeah, man, I'm not here to block anybody from a good time. And if you think this is a good time, sir, then rock on.
Yeah, have it.
Yeah, me personally, I like off the grid behavior, not in the streets behavior, and somebody that respects me and don't get loud. Yeah. So I think that's what's in order. So hey, man, do your thing, Trav. Do you think?
Yeah. Good luck to you, my brother, because it's gonna be interesting to see how this continues to play out. But I hope you get every bit of that contract. I hope you get a fully guaranteed contract, because something tells me you are going to need it.
Damn.
And last but not least for this evening, we are going to get into the NBA. I'm shocked this is the first time we've talked about this, because this has been going on for a while, but it seems to have gotten louder. Yeah, and I feel somewhat vindicated that it's getting louder, because we've been saying this for months. Mm-hmm. But Anthony Edwards was recently fined by Joe Dumars in the NBA for criticizing referees. But the way that the internet took this, they took it in the direction of further talking about the NBA's declining popularity and how the NBA is focusing on finding players when they should be focusing on how to fix the league, because right now it's broken and it's declining in ratings and it's declining in popularity and so on and so forth. Y'all sitting around finding Anthony Edwards, you need to fix the referees and fix your sport. So we'll go ahead and opine on this for a little bit. So Anthony Edwards, I think the amount was 25 G's. He was fined 75. So he was fined 75,000 by the NBA for criticizing referees after they recently lost to the Warriors. So this says ratings down even more. NBA fans outraged over Anthony Edwards' $75,000 fine amid league's ratings slump. Minnesota Timberwolves star Anthony Edwards was fined $75,000 on Monday by the NBA for his public criticism of the officiating. The All-Star guard aired out his frustration on Saturday in front of reporters following a 113-103 loss to the Warriors. Joe Dumars, the NBA's executive vice president and head of basketball operations and a Hall of Fame guard for the Pistons, made the announcement. The fine also includes Edwards' use of inappropriate and profane language. So there is the communication from the NBA there talking about him being fined. The article goes on to say, following the report, fans talked about how the fine would affect the league's declining ratings. Ratings going down even more, a fan said. And you wonder why your ratings are down, another fan said. League's in a bad state right now, can't even lie, one fan said. Other fans criticized the league for not punishing referees for mistakes. It amazes me that the officials are never fined or disciplined when they screw up. The fact that players get fined for expressing their opinion is outrageous. Another fan had the players' backs. Soft ass league, F out of here. Let the players speak or fix yours. Shitty refs, one fan commented. Anthony Edwards was upset in the locker room after the loss to the Warriors. He didn't hold back as he talked about the inconsistencies with the calls made by the referees during the game. So I'm not going to read all that because we're going to play the clip of what Edwards had to say. So here is said clip of Anthony Edwards complaining about the referees.
They're fucking terrible.
Facts, bro.
They're fucking terrible. Yeah, all of them. Besides the woman. Yeah, but the other two dudes, terrible. Excuses, the reason they call a foul, the reason they don't call a foul, the shit was terrible. They don't want to talk back to my coach. They don't want to talk back to me. I said one thing to the referee. He gave me a text. Motherfucker told one of my teammates, if I would have said y'all calling the bad foul, he wouldn't have gave me a text. Niggas, they just sensitive and they terrible. They never give us the benefit. They penalize me and Jew for being stronger than our opponent every night. Don't get no calls. So, yeah, that's how I feel about the officials every game that we play.
Did the frustration of that carry over, like in the game?
No.
Just not let it.
No, I don't care. I mean, it's just hard to everybody keeps saying play through it. It's easy to say that when you're not dealing with it. So that's what's frustrating.
So you think that's a thing that's been consistent all year, not just tonight?
Hell yeah, it's been consistent all year, but tonight was bad. They was getting ticky-tack fouls and we weren't getting nothing. So that's just how I feel about the officials. The two dudes, not the woman. Yeah.
Do you feel like the frustration has that impacted the way you attack? Like I know they are often guys, like they're sending extra help and stuff. It does seem like sometimes you're not going as much as you otherwise would.
Yeah, and that's why. Shit, because I get penalized for being stronger than my opponent. So they get them the benefit of the doubt. I get the same. They bump me the same way they bump everybody else, and I never get the call. So I don't know what got to go down, but something got to happen because that shit's terrible.
There you go.
Hey, man.
So he unloaded on the referees. Although the Wolves had 25 free throw attempts, which is close to the Warriors' 23, Edwards felt they didn't have a fair shot in getting fouls. Even during the fourth quarter, the attempts both teams had were close. Minnesota had 11 and Golden State had 10. So I think that's the end of it. Yeah. So what do you think about that? So people on the internet attributed the refereeing, deficiencies as further evidence of why the league is floundering. And then Edwards wasn't going that far. He was just complaining about the referees in general. But what do you think? Do you think we've talked about this, so I know you concur with the idea that the league is getting worse. But do you tie it into the referees the way the people on the internet did, or? I mean,
I'm saying Adam Silver has his faults in this too because of the goofy stuff that he allows. But at the same time, he also is the one who's giving instructions to these referees. And so these referees the way that they call these games it makes the game unwatchable. I remember at the beginning of this season, bro, I was just trying to watch games, you know what I'm saying, just for the love of the game, hoping that these guys cleaned up their act. And the guys were out there playing, but the referees was out there controlling the game. Tic-tac fouls for one team and not the other, calling every damn thing, slowing the game down, more free throws for no reason, guys acting, selling calls. It's the same garbage. And I don't want to see that. The game has devolved into three-point shooting, trying to get fouls to go to the line and miss 3-point shots. It's just that now. It's free throws and threes. All kinds of traveling. I mean, the game is just a mess. And so for Anthony Edwards, for his frustration now, I felt that. You know what I'm saying? Especially the part where he was saying that, you know what I'm saying? Hey, man, people, it's easy for people to say, hey, just play through it. You know what I'm saying? But when you're going through it night after night, where tonight's the referee said, y'all gonna lose. That's frustrating, man. Especially when you go through all this work, practice, prep, did all of this stuff, and you go out there and now the ref said, nah, you losing tonight. This like sometimes, man, you know what I'm saying? Whenever I used to play NCAA, the video game, and, script wise, the game was like, you're going to lose to this team, or you're going to throw an interception on this game. We're going to make you throw it. I'm like, oh, no, not today. And then they'll do something weird, crazy stuff to make me throw an interception or, you know what I'm saying, make the game closer than it had to be. And it's in the computer. It's an algorithm. You know what I'm saying? And they did that to me. And it's the same way. And it's frustrating. Because it's like, why are you doing that? Well, just because. And so the NBA with its sports betting, the NBA with its other stuff that it's got going on, they've got interests beyond what the viewers know. And I feel like the referees go out there and they execute it. So, these little one games here, one game there, nobody really notices it. They just look at the box score. But, I'm pretty sure, those 25 fouls that the Timberwolves got, is like this, who knows. But those 25 free throws that they got, you can look at it. And there was probably some fouls that the Warriors got where you can go, yeah, I can see why he's complaining about that. So all in all, man, I really think that the referees need to change how they approach the game. I feel like as though they allow, it's too much traveling. I don't like all this traveling. It's all these extra steps. I hate it. It's stupid. I don't even know what I'm looking at sometimes when these guys are doing it, because I'm yelling at the TV that's a travel, but the refs are looking dead at them and letting it go. These tic-tac fouls for one team and not the other. I'm over that. And I think they just need to call it more down the line. And NCAA referees, they still have their collusion moments, but they allow more contact, more physicality. And that's why college basketball is more fun to watch than me right now, which was never the case.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd rather watch a college basketball game than an NBA game, because I know I'm going to see better basketball than what I would watch in the NBA.
Wow.
So yeah, man, it's gotten that bad. But what are your thoughts, man, on Anthony Edwards out here chewing out the refs, and then the everyday viewer, users of X and all these other platforms basically saying that, hey, man, this is why the ratings are going down. Do you agree with the people? You agree with Ant? What's going on?
I agree with Ant complaining about the refs. I feel him on being penalized for being bigger or stronger or more physical. I've always had a problem with that. Mm-hmm. As a person who had a more athletic game himself when I played, I got fouled constantly because I was always faster and more athletic than my defender. But whenever I would call it, I would hear stuff like, bro, you too big to be calling that. You too athletic to be calling that. And I always said, I don't give a damn how big I am. Become a better defender, because if you foul me, I'm going to call it. You don't just get to foul me with impunity because I'm bigger than you. Switch and put somebody else on me, or get better at defense. But I'm not going to sit here and take the fouls just because I'm bigger than you. That's ridiculous. So I feel him on that. People like Shaq used to complain about that. Like, Shaq is bigger than everybody else. So Shaq is getting pounded and doesn't get nearly as many free throw attempts as he should because the refs are like, well, he's big and he's Shaq. I don't care. Below the damn whistle, he's getting fouled. And as much as I don't like LeBron, I got to give it to him. You know, when LeBron was in his prime, freight training his way to the basket, a lot of times he'd be getting beat up. Refs don't blow the whistle because he's bigger and stronger and more athletic than everybody else on the court. So it's like he had to just eat it, which is, to me, was silly. Call the damn foul. So I feel Ant on that for sure. Referees need to do better with that kind of stuff. Don't penalize somebody because they're bigger and more physical. That should be on the coaches of the opposing team to figure out a better defensive game plan to account for that, because that is what competition is. Don't just sit there and allow the referees to bail you out of it because the culture of the calling of the calls is they're big, so we just let stuff go. I don't like that. But I don't think referees are the reason why the league is getting worse, because in my opinion, there's always been incompetent officiating in the NBA. That's been a constant throughout my entire life of watching the NBA. There's always been bad refereeing, bad officiating, bad calls, weird calls, phantom calls, charge block. What the hell is the difference? They're outside of the restricted area, but they're calling this a block when it looks exactly like this. And it was also outside the restricted area, so that's a charge. Weird stuff like that has always been going on. So I don't think that's why the league is getting worse. I think the league is getting worse because of lack of balance. Shouts out to Brian Windhorst, who brought this point up, and shouts out to Cowherd, who gave a good example. I was watching Cowherd's show one day, and he was talking about this, and he said, imagine if the NFL rules created an environment in which every team was either throwing 60-yard bombs or doing tush pushes. How watchable would that be? No one wants to watch an NFL game where every team is either doing the tush push or throwing 70-yard bombs. It's unwatchable. So in the NFL, you still have the intermediate passing game and the run game. It gives you a balance in terms of how the game is played and how it's represented. Thus, it is more watchable. And it's also more competitive. And Cowherd's like, what's missing in the Windhorst said this, but what Cowherd's example alluded to was the game's lack of balance. You're either doing the dunks or the threes. You've removed the intermediate game from the equation because the analytics have told you to do so. So it makes the game more unwatchable from a fan's perspective. And it takes some of the strategy out of the game because essentially it's an arms race to see who's going to shoot the most threes. I don't really need to watch a game to know which team won the game. If I look at the box score and see three-pointers made, whichever team has the most won the game. Even if they shot a worse percentage, if they made more, they probably won the game. I don't think that's good for the game, personally, in my opinion. And people have hit themselves to that. That's what they got going on, and they don't like it. You look at a guy like Anthony Edwards. I looked up Anthony Edwards, right? So there's a lot of stuff going on that's killing the NBA right now. So the three-pointers is one aspect of it. And as an extension of that, you have people like Anthony Edwards, who the media was telling me 2 years ago was Michael Jordan-esque. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so you got these idiots in the media calling him Jordan in terms of the way his game is constructed, but the dude is currently attempting 10 threes per game. He's not getting to the rim. He's not going to the basket. You complain about referees not calling calls for you. You take 10 threes a game, bro. There's no balance in your game. Like over the last couple of years, you have been responsible for some of the coolest highlights I've seen in the league. Dunking on people, going ham, super above the rim. He had one play where he drove baseline and dunked it, leaning in. Damn near his old arm was in the rim, like Vince Carter in the All-Star game. Like, people want to see more of that, not less. And you're diminishing your own game by removing that from the equation because you feel like you need to shoot more threes. I don't think anyone is telling him to shoot 10 threes a game. He's doing that because he feels like that makes him a better player. 10 threes a game to perhaps the most athletic guard in the league currently. You got other people like Ja Morant who literally said, I'm not dunking anymore. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
Like earlier this year, he said to the media, I'm done dunking. So when you have premier players saying stuff like that and playing that way, it leads to a diminished product. Couple that with people like Zion Williamson, who can't get on the court despite how highly touted he was. He can't even get on the court. He can't play the games because he can't get his body to hold up. On top of that, you have these weird talking points. It's the last thing that I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up as a kid, I watched the NBA year round. It was the league I followed the most. It was the most excited. Like basketball and boxing were my two favorite sports. I've said that before. There was nothing more exciting to me than a marquee NBA game during the regular season and a pay-per-view boxing event. That was the most excited I got watching sports growing up. The NBA during the regular season meant something. It meant something. You couldn't just cast away the NBA until the playoffs started.
Mm-hmm.
But I started hearing these weird talking points in these debate shows and on these pundit shows. I started hearing weird stuff like no one watches the NBA before Christmas and nothing matters until the playoffs. And it doesn't matter. Nothing matters until what you do in the playoffs. No one watches the league before Christmas time. We'll see what happens in the NBA after the All-Star break. So when you hear that kind of stuff over and over again, perpetuated in the media, I feel like the league followed suit. And they basically relegated themselves to second fiddle. Oh, we'll just let the NFL have it, and we'll just wait until Christmas. That's our day.
Mm-hmm.
And now Christmas ain't even your day. The NFL done took that.
They done took it.
They took it. They took it. The NFL killed the NBA last year on Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA, that used to be the marquee day, Christmas, NBA. NFL done took that too. So y'all have allowed the media to perpetuate the idea that no one should pay attention to you until Christmas time. And even after Christmas time, now we can go back in our holes until the All-Star break. And once the Super Bowl is over and after the All-Star break, now we pay attention to the NBA. So all of these things, in my opinion, have contributed to why the NBA now is floundering.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just one thing. It's a lot of things going on concurrently. These weirdo talking points about when people should pay attention, the threes, and the players themselves capitulating to this culture. Marquee players with all the athleticism in the world deciding that they don't want to take advantage of it. They'd rather attempt 10 threes a game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the way that the game is played, there's no balance in it. The balance is removed from the equation. And the media has harped onto this stuff about when we should be watching and paying attention. Who decided that? All of my friends who liked the NBA growing up, our buddies, we were excited opening night and we watched almost every game from the beginning to the end. It didn't matter whether it was before or after Christmas. Where did this crap come from? And you allowed them to say this about your game. And so now this is what you get. And I didn't even get into players sitting out games. I didn't even get to that. I just got to this other stuff first. So I don't think it's the refs. I think the refs are a component. But to me, there's always been incompetent officiating. That's always been a constant. But you got all of this other weird stuff going on. And that's what, to me, has contributed to it. And I don't know if they can fix it. I've heard all sorts of weird ideas about eliminating the corner three, making the field goals 4 points and 3 points instead of 2 points and 3 points, because then there's an increased premium there's less of a premium rather on the three ball, because the percentage increase in points that you gain from taking the three goes away by making it 4s and 3s versus 3s and 2s. So I've heard all kinds of shenanigery in terms of what can fix it. But it's a larger thing. Players have to care more. They have to accept the responsibility of championing the league and not essentially deprioritizing the regular season. Jimmy Butler, You know, like there's just a lot going on, but it's not just the refs is my point. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of blame to go around the NBA, the media, the players themselves, the way the game is played. It's all just remove the balance from it, and that's what I think is screwing it up.
Now, I see that, and I think mine's because I agree with that because this is a whole concert of stuff that's going wrong, and I blame Adam Silver. I put all the blame on his shoulders for being a reactionary person versus somebody that is a visionary. Like his visionary stuff of doing an in-season tournament was a reaction to those talking points that you mentioned that the games don't start until after All-Star break.
Correct. Yeah.
And so him doing the whole, MVPs and stuff like that, or whatever, they're not going to get nothing unless they play 65 games. That's a reaction to players sitting out. And so the way that this league is being run right now is so reactionary to whatever the players are doing, because the players are just following. There's a culture going on in the NBA that's entitled, for sure. You know what I'm saying? And so there's entitled players. Then there's referees, because the referees are an extension of the commissioner. And so I agree with you. Those Heat series with the Knicks back in the 90s, bro, there was a lot of collusion going on in there, man. You know what I'm saying? PJ Brown in there trying to draw a charge, and they, you know what I'm saying? They calling it a blocking foul. You know what I'm saying? But here comes Patrick Ewing doing the same damn thing, and he's getting the call. And so, that used to drive me up the wall, bro. I hated that stuff too. But those were still very competitive games. You know what I'm saying? Even though all that crap was going on. So, yes, bad officiating has always been around. I would agree with that. But my thing is with the officiating, it's not so much they're officiating and making bad calls. It's what they're allowing in the game now. And so this is the part where they're an extension of the commissioner, where he even said it himself that he allowed certain things to go on in the league to let smaller guys compete more.
Yeah.
So they could show more of their skills and all this other crap. So we had to get rid of hand checking and stuff because, you know what I'm saying, in the early what was that, in the 2000s, early 2000s, those were the lowest scores ever in NBA history. So his reaction to that is to allow more points. The people will enjoy that more. So certain things weren't called travels anymore. Hand checks weren't allowed, and rules started to change where, more points is getting put on the board. And we say in here all the time, at least I know I do, there's more points being scored more than ever. And it is still bad to watch.
Yeah.
I don't want to see 142 to 139. That's hideous.
Yeah.
I mean, no defense was being played, but they're not allowed to play defense. And defense is slowly but surely being legislated out of the NBA, which makes it unwatchable. The level of physicality is they can't do it. They can't be physical. As soon as they get physical, it's a foul call. So best thing is to play Olay defense and try to run back and shoot another three. And so the players, I've seen times where the games get caught, where the games are like they're allowing these guys to be a little bit more physical, and the guys adapted immediately because they were trying to win the game. And then they was, playing with the less calls, and it was a competitive game. I've seen it happen in pockets, but overall the theme is call that foul. Guys are selling for the foul. You know what I'm saying? Here comes Austin Reeves again. You know what I'm saying? They're sweeping through. There's James Harden. Step back. You know what I'm saying? No travel there. You know what I'm saying? Coming through the lane, trying to, wrap somebody's arm. Here's Jimmy Butler trying to wrap somebody's arm, leaning into somebody. It's the same old crap. And I don't want to watch that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, great foul call. Or great job drawing the foul on that. Great job drawing the foul. Fouls are supposed to be accidents from the other team from just trying to play good defense, not because somebody's actually trying to intentionally get a foul call. Like, that's so weak to me. I would never do pump fake, jump into somebody, do that. Like, I would never do that. And the day that, and you know what? I'm sure that's happening at pickups now. Like, these young people, they'll do that when they get in a bind, do a pump fake, make the guy jump, lean into him, and call foul so you can, get the ball back. I'm sure that's going on.
Bro, it used to bother me so much when referees rewarded that. I used to yell at the TV every time I saw a guy pump fake, get the defender in the air, and then initiate the contact by jumping into the defender. And the referee would call it. Oh my God. I used to say all the time, like, why are we rewarding rule manipulation?
Exactly.
And the league was complicit in this. Call
Right.
that.
Right.
I hated that with a passion. And that isn't even the rip through. That's
Right.
the rip through is another rule manipulation. But the whole pump fake, like I just don't like it because the defender is doing what
Their
they're
job.
supposed to do.
Right.
You're defending. If you jump straight up and the offensive player angles their jump into you and you reward that with a foul call, that used to, oh my God.
But they still do that. Not
I
all
know,
the time,
I know,
but
yeah,
they
I
still
know.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, hey, I think it's more or less it's a concert of stuff of what got this league in the toilet. And the fact that, they can blame streaming, they can blame this, and people cutting the cord. Yeah, NFL ratings are still
exactly
year over year dunking on itself.
Exactly. Nobody want to hear. Ain't nobody talking about none of that stuff with the NFL.
No.
Ain't nobody talking about cord cutting and all of those other BS excuses. The NFL's ratings get bigger every year. College football gets bigger every year. And their games are on TV too. So are they getting affected by cord cutting? Why is the NBA getting affected by it? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm over it, bro. So it doesn't look like this is going to clean up anytime soon. But I'm glad that the conversation is getting louder to the point where, the likes of Kyle Horde and what's your boy named Nick Wright, and others are talking about the ratings. Now they're blaming other things and these shadow stuff. The popular thing everybody's jumping on is threes, but there's a lot more than that.
Yeah.
There's a lot more than that at play right now. But hey, I'm glad that people are talking about it, and I hope it goes through the absolute dumps. I hope this hits rock bottom. I'm over it.
Yeah, me too. I am too. Speaking on Adam Silver, you mentioned how you look at him, and I don't blame you for that. But you know what they say, like he's standing on the shoulders of a giant because the actual visionary was David Stern. And so he was David Stern's protege. And so I feel like a lot of what Silver did rode on the coattails of some of the things that Stern established.
Yep.
I feel like Stern was the actual visionary for the NBA. And it just so happens that Silver came after that. So Silver gets a lot of credit for stuff, but I think Silver is just kind of eating off of the foundation that Stern essentially built. I think Stern was the actual visionary.
Agreed.
But I don't think Stern would have been in favor of a lot of this stuff. I don't think Stern would be sending out memos telling referees to call those calls like that.
No, I don't think you would have an in-season tournament.
Yeah, Stern was on the other end, like let them play defense and let the teams figure it out, kind of thing. It's almost like Silver is the liberal socialist, and Stern was more of the fair market capitalist.
100%.
Where Stern was like, "Hey, man, I'm giving you opportunity, but y'all figure it out." And Silver's just like, "Oh, let's let everybody be equal." And it's like, look, life don't work like that. Everything's not equal. Stop allowing these cookie cutter, environments of rule manipulation to persist. I hate it. So I feel you on the Silver thing. But I also think another thing that doesn't get talked about a lot is the media angle. Like when you hear something enough, subconsciously your brain will glean it to be a truth. Like if you're exposed to something enough and you hear it over and over and over and over and over again, after a while you're going to be like, oh, well, this must be what it is. So if you hear year after year after year, no one's paying attention to the NBA before Christmas, you're going to come to believe that.
Mm-hmm.
If you hear year after year, it doesn't matter what happens in the NBA until the playoffs, you're going to believe that. If you hear year after year, no one's paying attention until after the All-Star break, you're going to be like, well, why should I tune in? Nothing means anything until after Christmas, the All-Star break. Why do I care? So like I heard that year after year, I heard these people saying this on TV so much that I feel like that's also had an impact.
Absolutely.
And the league did nothing to say, hey, man, watch us. Yeah, it might be a Tuesday night in November, but we got OKC and the Celtics playing. Watch this game. They just let it ride.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so I feel the NBA has no one or nothing rather to blame but itself.
Yeah,
and I do think that it is a whole host of various things going on, not just one.
Mm-hmm.
The threes are a part of it, the refs are a part of it, but at the head, it's the way the NBA has managed this situation for sure.
Yep.
And until that changes, the ratings will continue to decline.
And I'm here to laugh at them every second of the way, because they did me wrong. And everybody else that grew up NBA fans are just basketball fans. Because what they're doing to the game is they're bastardizing it. And the thing that we fell in love with is just this Frankenstein right now. And young kids is doing dribble, step back, tween, and firing threes all damn day, and they don't even know what basketball really is. So yeah, man. So I'm here for their demise. I love every bit of all of this. So yeah, tighten up, NBA. God damn, bro.
Yeah, it makes me sad. It gives me no pleasure to talk like this, but I have to say what I feel, and I believe this. And the best thing that came out of the Lakers hiring JJ Redick was that I no longer had to be subjected to hearing his analytic jibber jabber on ESPN every day.
Jesus,
that was the best. That was the best thing that came out of the Lakers hiring him, was that he can take that BS to Staples Center or whatever they call that place now. He can take that BS out there, and I don't have to be subjected to hearing his points per 100 possession and second spectrum on First Take every day, talking about how the NBA is so much better because the players can dribble and shoot better. Like I'm tired of this.
Win share.
Yeah, people like JJ Redick have screwed this thing up. And he's an agent of this. And whatever you see, the Lakers are trash. So good luck fixing that garbage with your second spectrum and your points per 100 possessions BS.
Yeah, mind the game, bro.
Yeah, right. So the league, good luck, man. I don't know if they'll figure it out. I feel like they're going to continue to lean into this faux pas. Well, not faux pas, but faux innovation. The in-season tournament and all of these various things, fixing, turning the All-Star game into its own weird mid-event tournament with the shooting stars and 3 other All-Star teams, and just hokey, weird sideshow gimmicks. So
that I won't be watching.
Yeah.
So keep it up, NBA. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing all this crap so I don't keep looking at it. And reasonable crash out, Anthony. Normally I'm not, you know what I'm saying? But that's a lot. 75K. They made sure that they made an example out of you. Yeah. But it was reasonable, bro. You said what you said, and he went all the way in because he already knew once he crossed the line, to hell with it. So he made it worth his while.
Yeah, he didn't give. After a while, he didn't give a damn. Yeah, he was saying N words and everything. He didn't give a damn. But yeah, maybe they'll fix it. Maybe they won't. But we'll definitely be here to see how it all unfolds.
Sure.
Yeah, but with that said, we are going to go ahead and close out today's stream. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. JV Wins, Dogon SS. As always, check us out on all applicable channels. Check us out on all the individual video uploads. I am on Instagram at JV Wins, JVWINS. Check out Conscious Approach on Instagram at ConApproach, ConApproach. And if you only tuned in for bits and pieces of live stream, we do upload each segment as his own video upload. So check us out there. We certainly appreciate the support. We certainly appreciate everybody hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, leaving those comments. Even if you think I'm simping for Malika Andrews. We are also on Spotify, so check us out there if you want to check out the audio version, everywhere, Amazon, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We are also in those places. Check us out there. We certainly appreciate it. To anybody celebrating the holidays, it's not necessarily about whether you are into the Christmas holiday in and of itself, but more so about the time. Hopefully you are around loved ones, friends, family, things of that nature. Hopefully everybody's getting some nice R&R, enjoying time off. If you are not, having to punch into a time clock, God bless you for that. What else did I want to say? Oh, as I always like to say, don't be a group thinker. Think for yourself. Have an opinion and a mind of your own, even if it's an unpopular opinion or mind of your own. Embrace diversity of thought. That's what this channel is all about. So until next time, everybody enjoy the holiday. We will catch y'all on the flip side. We will be back. This train is not stopping, so we will catch y'all later.
Yeah. And the name is Dogon SS Skr. And you can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS, on YouTube, TikTok, DraftKings, anywhere there's social medias. Dogon_SS gonna be out there. Go ahead and send me a like, subscribe, or follow, whatever it is he did. And as I say on every pod, guys, all right, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it player. And don't let anybody get you off your pivot. And I would like to greatly thank everybody that's been hitting the like and subscribe, like JV Wins and said. You know what I'm saying? You guys are the true MVPs. And shout out to Love My Kids, who left the super chat. Golly, you know what I'm saying? Use the real MVP. All right, I'm about to start crying on stage like my name was KD. All right, you know what I'm saying? Greatly appreciate all the love. And anybody else that would like to do the same, you know what I'm saying, on our next stream, you know what I'm saying? Come holler at us. So I hope you guys enjoyed our winter solstice special. All right, next week, it's going to be a New Year's Eve special. Golly, man, it's back-to-back weeks. You know what I'm saying? So we about to hit you guys over the head again with another live stream that you guys would love to see. All right, so until the next time, guys, more rings than Robert Ory. We'll catch y'all on the next episode. Skr.
Yes, sir. Everybody, peace and love. Enjoy the holidays. Enjoy the time off. Enjoy the time with loved ones. We'll see you later. Thank you very much. Conscious Approach is out for this week. We'll holla.
Peace. Skr. Go Cards. Still. Yeah. Man, whatever with the heat, dog. I don't care about